This is Jonah Hill, and you're listening to the only podcast that matters.
Bro gang, we are joined by the chairman of the hair man, the pharaoh of the fade. He's not a moil, but he's the big dick of the snip snip, titan of the taper. A Mildred, a Mildred, a Mildred, a Mildred, a Mildred, a Mildred. The Raja of Ridge Street, the Don Dada of doing the do. White Rob got the flow looking like whoa. Lord of the lettuce, king of the cabbage, whiskey in the barbershop, that's boozy, man. King of the curls, Lord of the locks, his good manners and kindness, you know he got it in Ohio. Barber and co-founder of Mildred Barbershop.
Wow.
Rob McMillen. Rob, how the hell are you?
What's up, buddy?
I mean, thinking that Mildred could be a Millie for a moment. The episode could end now. We did it. We done did it.
A lot of people would be disappointed, but we could. We really could.
Wow, that was incredible.
The throw gang's stepfather they never had, the cool uncle they never had.
That's humbling.
A lot of dudes crush on you hard.
Well, it's nice to hear. I think it's just being around people like you guys and all the great people that come in the shop. You feel like there's an opportunity to engage with folks.
Sure.
And I think that's
part
genuine.
of the job.
Yeah, but it's genuine for me. Like, it's wild.
Every haircut is a podcast. It's just not recorded.
Yeah, in some capacity, but it's why I like
10 episodes a day.
Yeah, right? It's why I like what I do. So if some of that comes off to where like there could be some advice or wisdom, which I don't think I have much
gems.
It's just a thing that like I really appreciate that people, and I appreciate that people pick up on that.
Have you ever given advice and then the person walked out and you're like, oh fuck, that was terrible advice. Come back.
There's been a few times.
Really?
Better terrible advice than a terrible haircut.
Well,
if you had to pick.
Fair. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hopefully there hasn't been any terrible haircuts. There's none that I can recall. But terrible advice, I think it's sometimes I would jump to say if I've known someone for a long time, like, man, I hate my job, and I'm like, fucking quit. You know, and things like that. Yeah. And then they
come back.
Do as I say,
or
not as I do.
Or I don't know if I like my girl. I'm like, fucking life.
They come back like, yo, I quit my job. Y'all hiring?
Yeah, like, what's up?
Or yo,
can you show me how to cut?
I hit you with the 10% tip this time. Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
My job on your advice. Rob, thank you for hosting us in your beautiful fucking crib.
Quite possibly the best, most accommodating host we've ever had in terms of just the offering of drinks.
Bro, there's a full wet bar. We have Regina's subs on deck.
We're trying. I always try to bring some Regina's up. We do it at the shop a lot.
You're like, fuck, I forgot to make some homemade pasta for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
My wife forgot. I didn't even ask.
Christine.
If I would have asked, she would have done it.
Shout out Christine in the other room, giggling right now.
Yeah, I'm sure she's having the time of her life.
No, I love hosting, man. I love hosting.
This is emblematic of who you are, bro. You're the consummate host. You're the fucking best guy.
Did the love of hosting begin before opening a shop, or did that kind of like?
I think the love of hosting happened when, and this is not a sob story, but I didn't grow up with a whole lot. So I think the opportunity to even have a little extra and then be able to share anything with anyone, that's one. And then two, when you don't grow up with a whole lot, you feel like you don't fit in. So you overcompensate a little bit. You're like, hey, I better make sure they got everything for the boys. Right. I want people to know that like,
I got Japanese beers. I got Dominican beers. I got American beers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the goddamn United Nations in the crib. Dude.
Well, hey, if there's a thing,
in the fridge.
If folks that don't live in New York, which I'm sure there's a lot that are listening, that's what I love most about New York. Is that that's a walk around the block.
Sure, right.
Just it's to be like, I'm going to grab, I hit the bodega and I was like, well, fuck, I'll just get, 4 different types of beers because who knows what the boys really want or like. I should have asked, but
no. I mean, I think you went above and beyond. Doesn't begin to describe it, James.
What's the beer of choice?
You said it was like flying in first class on an airline.
on Rob Air. What's the beer of choice currently stocked in Mildred?
Ooh,
124 Ridge Street. If you don't,
I know what I drank 2 weeks ago.
Well, we have the light cans in there just for the aesthetic. I don't really like Miller Lite. We had Narragansett before, but when we drink Modelo all the time.
Modelo's with the fellows.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we drink, or wine. Guys will bring stuff by, and
we did get a magnum of natty.
And hey, now that Paulie's single and his shirt's off every time on the Instagram,
bro, his cum gutters are deeper than the Mariana Trench.
He just sips tequila and he's like, I'm good. I gotta go get tan. He's wonderful though. He's a single man now. He's a single man.
Bro,
so
I've heard some tales.
He's been laying some thirst traps.
Well, exactly.
He's been laying some pipe.
I don't know about that, but I he's a dad first, and that's
Sure. Right, of course.
I think he cares about being a dad.
The dad
and staying
first,
lean.
the coxman second.
Exactly.
Rob, thank you again. The first thing we want to do, as always, is a little fit check where you're going to walk the audience at home through the totality of your fit. The question for you is, do you want to start top down or bottom up?
Well, I think I've listened too much and know too much to where this question's new for me. We're going from the bottom. We're definitely
let's
definitely
include
starting
the booties
because you met us in the lobby again, like a fucking pro.
well, it's a little bit of a walk from the front, and it's a weird building. So, well, right now I just got some gold toes on, but when I answered the door, I was in the same Viberg Chelsea boots that have been resold a couple times.
Those are your signature, the
I've
Air
just worn
McMillen 3s.
Well, the main reason is
big
that
old heel.
you don't want to cut with a shoelace, which I said before, and they've just kind of become something I almost wear every day. If I'm not working, I might wear a sneaker, but I have like 3 different. I have the New Balance.
So unlike like a nurse or a cook, you don't want to like cut in some clogs or Crocs or
no. I just don't like
Danskos.
cutting with anything that has laces or anything that's open. So that's why a boot, especially a Chelsea boot's perfect. Because I didn't even really like Chelsea boots. It was really more of a function thing.
Right.
Well, because it's just one seamless
Because
piece
of
of
the
leather that you
occupational
stick on.
hazards.
Yeah, to be completely transparent, that was it. And because a lot of my life too was you'd cut hair all day and then we were out. Whether it be with you, it's dinner. Like I'm not one where it's like, oh, I'm going to go home and throw some new shit on. That doesn't really happen for me. So the majority of stuff that I would cut in is like, hey, this is,
from the barber shop to the bar.
Let's go.
Exactly.
And of course the
From
years
the haircut to happy hour.
well, the years of BB, that was kind of how it had to be.
Right.
So I think that just is something that stuck with me. But yeah, so I had the Vibergs on, just some basic gold toes, some white gold toes. I have white and black. That's pretty much it. And like
how Midwestern of you?
What's that?
Is gold toe like a Midwest? That's like a Midwestern thing.
Simple.
Sounds like
yep.
it. Yeah. He got it in Ohio.
Yep. that was also
That
was I was
Rest
at
in peace.
There's Wayne, Cameron, and Black Rob.
I was at the Versus.
Yes, you were.
I was there.
Who were you? What set were you repping?
Well, it's tough to say. I'll say this much, given my age, I'm going to be 42 soon. So the Locks has a real special place. High school. You know what I mean? Like, and all the bad boy shit, just everything really was like from Ready to Die on.
Right.
Actually, that's a lie. From What's the 411 was really the first one for me, Mary J. Blige. And I didn't even realize that was like a Diddy find until I was older.
Sure.
But the Locks, I mean, and all that was just so big.
So you went in rooting for the Locks?
No, because living in Ohio, I moved down. I graduated from Ohio State years ago, but I moved to Columbus in like 1998. So roughly, I think early 2000s, there was this dude named Chubby Baby, who I believe was part of the Diplomats or like the Dipset
But he
crew.
was like a rep street team member in Ohio.
Yep. Well, no, he was from New York. I think his mom moved him to Ohio. I don't know. I mean, fact check me on this if you want.
Chubby
I'm not
Baby,
sure.
while you're listening.
Tap in.
I think Chubby Baby lived in Ohio, and I think he kept the connection, especially with Cam and those guys. So there was this club in Columbus, early 2000s, called the Red Zone. In the Red Zone, I saw Jim Jones in a room the size of my living room right now. And then I saw the Diplomats 3 or 4 times.
Oh, wow.
There, and then continued to. First time I came to New York, we went to the Diplomat store.
Right.
Because, I mean, of course.
So it was a painful night for you overall.
Well,
at MSG.
Cam says Dayton, Youngstown, Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, what?
Dayton,
it was
Youngstown,
like, who mentions that
Cleveland,
outside of Bone? So I was on the fence because in my head and in my, when I knew it was like Jada's the best here.
Yeah,
And he's going to
without a
come the
doubt.
most prepared. And I'm not saying that I had all this foresight, but I've seen some Dipset shows and it's great to see them, but sometimes they're just kind of there.
chaotic.
The way that it seemed was like they hadn't spoken to each other, let alone performed together in like 4 years.
It's like when Lawrence and I take a week off.
Yeah, get a little rusty.
But also,
Chill
I have
on
a
the lawn
client.
chair.
I had a client though. There were fights before. There was a
word?
fight card before at MSG that was. I don't think a lot of people actually knew about. But I have a close
Were
client.
they doing it in the same ring?
Yeah. I mean,
the
well,
Hulu Theater?
no, that's a bit of a lie. They
Okay.
tore it down a bit. But I have a client who was a co-main event. His name's Chris Algieri.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think he fought at 144. He won the fight. He looked great. I mean, he's an
Did he
amazing
ever
athlete.
contend for a belt, right?
He
Didn't
had a belt. He
had a belt.
won a belt at Barclays against a
I remember
guy.
hearing about him through like you and Trunzo because he was homies.
He's a
with you guys.
BB connection.
Right, yes.
Through a guy named
Yeah, yeah.
Vinny, and he's close with those guys. We ran into the BB guys there at the fight as well, which was really nice. It's first time I talked to Jeff and
versus Mildred versus BB.
Yeah, right.
Shout out Jeff. I know Jeff is back, right? Back.
Yeah, he was good. I
Shout
mean,
out
it
Jeff,
was
baby.
actually nice because Jeff and I never really, I don't think, liked working with each other. I think
better
he
friends than
he was a
colleagues.
very, I mean, hindsight, they were all great bosses
Sure.
to me, but like it was good to just be like, what's up, dude? You have 2 kids now and a
Yeah.
house and whatever. It was fun to see them. Chris won the fight
Sick.
and that was great. But yeah, he's fought a ton. But anyway, I forget the name of the Locks DJ. Is it Flex? No, not Flex.
No, it wasn't Flex.
I can't remember his name.
He kept saying his name a million times.
DJ
and I-
Tech?
and I
DJ
can't
Tech.
remember.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Tech.
Technique.
Yeah,
DJ Technique.
Yeah. He warmed the crowd up and the shit was wild in a good way. It felt like one of the most New York moments I'd
Sure,
ever seen.
absolutely.
I went to take a piss. The bathroom was just a cloud of blunt smoke
Sure.
and people screaming D block. And I think maybe you had a guest on that was like asking if they ever thought it was going to like pop off or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, it just felt like one of the most fortunate New York moments I could ever experience, especially not being from here.
Right.
Regardless of like, yo, the Dipset got wiped.
Yeah.
Brutally. But and it was, you know what was cool is that too, like I didn't get a chance to go see him, but I know John was there, Carmonica,
Oh, yeah.
and he was down in it. And he was like, I'm down up front. And I was like, I wish I could bring this crew down there, but there'd be no way.
Yeah, right.
But I just felt really lucky to be there, not only to watch the fight, but to be part of a New York moment like that. It was
How many people's hair do you cut that is in the Throwing Fits extended universe? Caramonica. I mean, there's probably so
It's
many.
got to be a large
It's
amount.
gotta be
I
a
just
lot.
sent one your way yesterday.
Oh, really?
He's like, I got to get a haircut before a wedding this week. And I was like, you can call. You're not going to get an appointment, but maybe
Yeah.
say
Well,
you're in the
hey,
Throwing Fits
You
extended
didn't,
universe.
you didn't even pull any direct strings?
I said, call them. Don't try to book online and say
you two
Throwing
folks
Fits.
can pull strings. I hope you know that. This is an
Absolutely.
open invitation to if there's any strings
I'm
that need
surprised
to
you
be
didn't flex
pulled.
hard, or maybe it wasn't someone you were trying to impress.
Just let us know for you guys. Because here's the other thing. What's funny about like the podcast, real quick, just a thank you to you guys. But like,
You're welcome.
we've been fortunate enough to be featured in a very small capacity in like all the shit. Like
Oh, we're gonna
GQ,
get to that. We're gonna-
Esquire, like New York Times.
What percentage,
blah, blah, blah.
what percentage of your of the shop's entire clientele is Throw Gang?
All of it now.
100.
I mean, it feels like it's kind of insane to be honest, but the love that we get from you guys, even before I was on the show, felt like more of a genuine and real thing than any other.
We put asses in the seats. No pun
any
intended.
other earned
in barber
media we
chairs.
could have.
Oh, of course.
And it's like, and that feels really fun to us because it's like we know you guys as well.
Because we're
You
having
know?
a 2-hour conversation. We're 12 minutes in. We're not even at your fucking pants yet.
Yeah.
Yo, but listen, this
We're
is
still on the
still
socks.
this is before
On the
that.
gold
This is
toes.
before I was on the show.
Yeah.
Before
Oh.
just talking about coming in and everything else.
Just
like
that cosign carries weight.
exactly, and cosigns are the only reason that we could have a business on Ridge Street.
Yeah.
That and my beautiful wife and her business partner, they bring a lot to the block.
Sure.
Yeah, we don't
But a
really
lot-
send a lot of women.
Yeah. I don't
No,
think
but,
there's.
but you know what's funny is a lot has happened since then, and I think there's more than a few clients that they have
Interesting.
that are at the very least aware.
Hold on. We have female listeners.
I love the awareness.
I
Listen,
think that are aware and might be listening, but I definitely think their guys are listening.
What's the name
and
of
then some.
Christine shop? If you want to shout out real quick.
It's Love Dunette,
There it
which is also at 124 Ridge Street.
Ladies.
Club
Love to
124.
meet Fellas,
big
Mildred.
plug before the pants. So working our way up, Rob. Let's talk about these.
So
jeans.
I have on some vintage Levi's
501s?
These are 501s.
Nice.
These are a gift
Oh.
from one of our former shop managers, Matt Orr, who
Shout out Matt.
I think Matt got them for himself,
Handsome Matt.
and then he just passed them on. But these aren't a jean I would ever wear to work. But this is like I try. It's weird, but
Why
I
not?
What's your pant choice for work?
now,
Yeah.
you know what's funny is, and I think they've been talked about a lot. And I'm not going to say I was on them early, but
Sure.
I've been wearing the cowboy.
Oh, the
cut
Wranglers. Yeah.
Because I got it. You know what's funny is like after the last
Did Isaac
show,
also influence you like he influenced Lawrence?
I think I influenced. No, I don't think I influenced anyone, but I just was wearing them. But after the last show, it was crazy. I think I said I was wearing I was wearing APC for years.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
went away from it after Greg, our current shop manager, gifted me a pair of vintage Wranglers.
Oh shit.
And I kind of ran through them. And then I just have been buying cowboy cuts,
They're really fucking good.
getting them tailored. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh, you get them tailored a bit.
I just really, I get them brought in
Sure.
to maybe like a 7-inch opening
Okay.
and then up a bit.
Better for the Chelsea boots.
Yeah. And just day to day. So but these are like, it's weird that I'll have work clothes and not work clothes. But like if I'm off, These are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more loose.
Today's an off day. You're
Right.
chilling,
Chilling.
spritzing at 2:30.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're not
sir.
working right now. We are fucking
fucking
hanging out.
off
putting work in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the jeans. And then I have this belt actually.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Is
Big fucking
I like
this
that.
is from a spot called J Palm. This is right outside, I believe, of Petaluma, California.
Okay.
And my buddy's Greg, who's one of my best friends and helps us run the shop, pretty much runs the shop for us. And his friend Tyler are from out there. And Greg had one of these belts on. I go, dude, what the fuck is that belt? He's like, you don't know J Palm? I'm like, no, motherfucker, I don't know J Palm. He always will do that. You don't know? I'm like,
You don't know?
No, I don't know anything. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. I don't know shit. I know football and cars. But
I know. Yeah, banging chains, dude.
Yeah. But in any case, he was out there and he literally FaceTimed me. He's like, yo, we're at J Palm's. You want a belt? And I was like, hell yeah.
Vintage new? What's the?
It's a brand new belt.
Okay.
And I think the belt was like $100. And then if you want this sterling silver cap,
Sure.
it's another like bill, $100.
Right. But who
So I was
doesn't
like-
want that? That's the whole thing.
So I've had this belt almost for 2 years now. And also is every day.
Yeah.
And it does not.
You're a uniform
flex.
guy.
Yeah. So, and it feels, so I love this belt. It's like one of my
Sick.
favorite things that I own. I wear it every day. And this is just
Your James Dean white tee.
Yeah.
This
with
is
the
a
sleeves
vintage-
rolled up.
Yeah, this is a vintage Hanes.
Yeah.
that,
Is that your go-to white tee? Because you're a white tee guy.
I'm a white tee guy, also not working white tee. Because working in a white tee, hair all over you.
Yeah.
So white tee is my favorite thing.
Right.
Like a
Can't
vintage
do it.
white tee.
But it would be a disaster.
Yeah, and this I think I bought. I can't remember because I have quite a few. I think this is from Raggedy Threads.
Okay.
It's either from Raggedy Threads or from Grand Street Bakery.
You buy them one at a time.
No,
You have to, right?
If I
Well, yeah, they don't sell
Or do
vintage
they have
packs.
do they have like old packs?
some of the packs can be tough because
sure that's more
especially if
expensive,
they're
yeah.
sealed, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard to tell.
Yeah.
And for some of the sealed vintage packs, and this is something that I kind of found out recent, if they're black, there's something about the thread that will disintegrate
Oh,
based
wow.
on the dye that is not really worth buying.
Right.
So a
This is good
sealed
intel.
vintage black
Yeah,
can be
it's a
tough
dart.
if it
It's a
hasn't been
dart.
washed, excuse me. But I can't remember if this is Grand Street Bakery or Raggedy Threads, but both those places were near and dear over on Grand Street. And Raggedy Threads is still there. Grand Street, they moved to Pittsburgh. For folks that are in Pittsburgh, and I don't try to do much shout out, but Mellow and Sons.
That's the whole
Yeah,
point of this
okay.
podcast.
Mellow and Sons in Pittsburgh is like one of the most beautiful vintage shops.
That's
there
the real
is.
deal.
Yeah, Neil Mello and his wife Sid and their kids. They're just great people. They're worth a look. Even if you're not in Pittsburgh and you're passing through, stop.
I'm sure they also have a website. Do
Yeah, they're-
do your Googles.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. So, but this
Support
is this is
family-owned
just
local
a
businesses,
a
you know the
vintage
vibes.
tee, and
Got a lot of jewelry on.
I got rings on. I have a
you got,
signet
4?
ring that was my uncle's. Yeah, I have
Mhm.
4. And my uncle passed away at 51. He's one of the reasons we were able to open the shop, to be honest, because he passed away.
Was
I-
Mildred his mom?
Mildred was his mom. That's my brother or my mother's brother.
Mhm.
And then I have another signet M that's small, which was our 2-year anniversary. Just a
nice.
pinky ring. This is from New Top. And then I have a sapphire, which is my wife got me, which was just
Beautiful.
it's my birthstone, and then a wedding ring, which I'm
You cut with
doing.
rings on?
Yeah, I do. And I used to not cut with anything on, but now I feel pretty comfortable. Yeah. And then I have a couple chains that are New Top. I have a little Te Amo charm that Christine has the other half to. This half heart.
It's adorable.
And then I just gotta say, Michael, that was my uncle's as well. And I'm not necessarily a faith-based dude.
Right.
And that's no disrespect to anyone who is. I'm just not. But it's more kind of ritual,
Sure.
his. So a little tribute. Yeah, man.
And
So
the panties.
Yeah.
panties.
Mhm.
So I'm
Also vintage?
I have yeah, I have
Vintage chains.
I got some Calvin Kleins on.
Okay. Is that your go-to?
Yeah.
Boxer briefs?
So I have briefs and boxer briefs. I was a sole briefs guy for years.
Right.
And
Okay.
then there's been a couple instances where it's like either like, hey, I should try these pants on real quick, or there's a pool
Yeah.
and I feel a little uncomfortable in just a
A little
brief.
exposed.
So I've been going back more towards boxer briefs.
Wait, do you feel comfortable jumping in a pool in front of people in the boxer briefs?
You get a
boxer
little more
briefs
leg
better
coverage.
than the,
leg
than the
coverage, but it's
briefs.
still fucking
It's still
showing
bald.
everyone
No,
what
but
religion you are.
But the brief feels a little. I feel a little.
Well, the brief
too
is-
exposed.
Brief.
The brief's a brief.
It is quite brief.
And I got not much to
design.
show off, so there's no real reason.
The pride of
to see
Youngstown.
me in a brief. Yeah,
The hog of Youngstown.
So that's what yeah.
the
that's what I
Youngstown
got.
Hogs.
And what are we sipping on there?
Yeah. You made yourself Aperol Spritz, yeah?
I did, and this I know that I'm real late. This was a big thing for you guys early, but this is what
Still
we kind of
good.
did. This was a pandemic thing for us.
Oh, yeah?
It was a Bloody Mary in the morning, and then Aperol Spritz in the afternoon. And it was just like, it kind of turned into a ritual, which was really good for us.
So
it was that,
around the
we were
world.
doing Campari spritz as well. So
Just a delicious little spritz in the afternoon, a little podcasting juice,
Aperitivo.
as we like to call it.
All right. Complete fit check.
And
Complete
drink check,
check. Rob, let's get your Ohio guy. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. You're an Irish guy, meat and potatoes.
I got a quick fact, James, that I'll say. I have my stepfather's last name.
Okay.
So my birth last name is Leonelli.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
so we
And that's my dad who's
gabagooling over here.
Yeah.
that's my dad
Bolognese.
that's my dad who's the barber as well. But I took my stepfather adopted me when I was young, and I didn't know my real dad. Met him at 17 in his barbershop.
Oh, wow.
And the moment I walked in there was like, yo, this feels right. And I didn't even
Like
know
the clicking. Yeah.
I didn't even know this dude. And
Right.
Did he give you a cut?
he did. I rolled in with my best friend from high school. I don't know if I said this shit last time. I hope it's not
possible.
repetitive.
We can retread.
But in any case, he sent me, it was my senior year. And as I said, we didn't grow up with much. And luckily, I don't know how, but I had a really great group of friends and a really great high school girlfriend who I'm actually close with now, who lives in the city, who was in Christine and I's wedding. Her name's Amanda. She's wonderful.
Shout out Amanda.
But and her family too. They took me in. But in any case, I'm sitting in class and I get a gift certificate for like 10 hours from a limousine company. And in it is a business card for Bob's Barbershop, which is my dad. He's Robert Nicholas Leonelli, and I was Robert Nicholas Leonelli. So I had no opportunities ever to like treat my friends, or like I didn't have a car in high school.
Right.
Like I played sports and tried to work, but I didn't have shit. So I got a chance to like hook up my boys with a limo.
Hell yes.
And it was amazing. So my best friend, who's still like to this day, I met him in first grade. His name's Henry Himes. He drove me over to his barbershop to thank him.
That was a gift from your father. That
Yes,
was like,
my dad, Bob was
Yeah.
my dad. His card's in there. He sent me the gift. Sorry if I didn't specify. And we roll over to his barbershop, walk in, feel immediately at home. He gives us each haircuts. And when I'm leaving, he goes, hey, he runs out the door and he gives me $100 bill.
Oh,
And he's
wow.
like, buy your buddy lunch. Come back whenever you want. And him and I built a relationship in that place.
So that
Was this like
story
the-
has a beautiful happy ending.
Yeah.
Was this like the late 90s? Like what did he give you like
1990, this is 1997.
did he give you like the middle part haircut?
Did you get a Caesar?
You know what's crazy? I got a Caesar.
Yeah.
And my buddy had the middle part.
Right.
And but we thought we were like,
You guys were getting fresh for prom. That was the prom cut.
this is
Yo,
post prom. We went
post-prom.
after, we
Make
were
us
doing
look
that.
like
We
the
were going to
Backstreet Boys.
we were going to fucking Cedar Point
Okay.
with our ladies. And see, if people
Ooh.
don't know Cedar Point, it's like a crazy ass amusement park.
Lover's Lane.
But he
Okay.
laced us, and then from there on, I could roll by with like 3 friends or 10, and this motherfucker would cut all of our hair for free.
That's money, dude.
And like,
That's the real flex.
and then I moved to Columbus, and he was the dude who like, and my grandparents were there for me when I needed them, especially when I needed braces. But like, I never got any money from anybody.
right.
And I remember
Just
he gave me
dental
like
work.
$1,500 or whatever to
Damn.
go to Columbus. And in 1997,
Yeah.
that was enough to like, yo, I can get an apartment with my boy
Bro,
Joe.
that's a lot of
Sure,
Abercrombie
sure.
and Fitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they didn't have in Youngstown, but they did in Columbus.
Yeah, right.
Actually, that's home base, New Albany.
Yeah.
So
Well, you got the Irish last name, the Italian DNA. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which could really, go either way. We mentioned that
Gnocchi
you
and
and your
bolognese.
boy got the fucking Caesar, the late 90s Caesar, and the middle part. And I'm assuming one of your boys got the fucking flip,
Oh, the chip flip.
the chip flip.
That was like at like late senior year.
I had a chip.
You know what?
Oh,
But
I didn't know it was called that.
You know,
but
the
I had it.
Caesar though was Clooney.
Yeah.
like from ER.
Dusk Till Dawn.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, yes, but
he
also
popped off
ER.
on ER, I think, and like all of a sudden
Real
he
tight.
got that real like almost that just a fringe.
Yeah. Bangs. He had
And-
bangs. Yeah.
And so we went from it was like middle part Caesar to that to college.
What do you
which is a
think of the
mess.
fact that as like the whole fucking I don't know if Mildred is on TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok, Rob.
I know
but,
you
we
guys-
certainly are on TikTok.
I know you guys are on TikTok. I saw your
James-
Hey
James is on
James,
TikTok.
I saw your stackable. You got that stackable in the crib?
I got the what?
The stackable, the washer dryer?
Yeah.
Oh, actually
Ooh-wee.
I moved it to the old spot. It was a bargaining chip in the sale.
That
But
was-
because I love supporting small business, the laundromat across the street. I love supporting Polish-owned
hey,
businesses.
that's Greenpoint's beautiful.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the fact that all these young kids now with these TikToky haircuts are doing like middle parts and fucking like
Yeah.
feathered ass shit and like what like the return of that?
First and foremost, and once again,
Has that permeated Mildred at all?
somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that our client base skews maybe a little bit older,
Sure.
But I learned a
little more
lot.
geriatric millennial.
Yeah, I think I learned a
guys with fucking money.
money. But we get, it's a diverse client base, and we're really fortunate.
There's only one thing that ties them all together. It's fandom of Front Fit.
The only
gang.
podcast that matters, right?
It's the gang.
Everyone's
Yeah.
fitted
Gang.
when they come through, right?
What's that?
Everyone's fitted when they come through.
I mean, pretty much. I've seen so many 5-inch inseams up in the place. People that never wore shorts.
Have you
are now
seen
in New
any
York
of
City.
the pod shorts?
The pod shorts?
The podcast shorts, the
shorts.
Throwing Fits mesh shorts?
That's what I mean.
Oh.
5-inch.
Oh,
Are
no.
they 5-inch?
like the ones.
No, I mean, yeah,
We ain't just talking
I
about
don't, I don't mean,
baggies.
hey, I don't mean some. I mean all. Every pair.
Every color of the
It's
rainbow.
wild.
Wait, what's
I have a pair of the green.
Yes, you do.
And I believe, and I hope that I believe your assistant, Bushwick, what's his name?
Rylan, yes. Our
Okay.
assistant. He's our merchman.
The
Merchman. Excuse me. Sorry,
We don't
Rylan.
have assistants.
Rylan, I'm sorry. I was trying to sound proper and I didn't know what to say. He came through with a few, a couple few extra
Little
pairs.
Lucy's beautiful.
Yeah.
Love to see that.
And people were.
That's why he got promoted from assistant because
People-
he's
people were
throwing the ball.
excited.
He's got the
So we've
the
seen
vision.
him.
He's
Yeah, but-
proactive.
I think I used to be one of those folks. Sorry, my dog's under the
No,
table.
she's fine.
Hattie, come on. Get out of here. Go,
She's
go,
good.
go.
She
Sorry,
wants
boys.
She wants a mic, dude.
Yeah. But in any case, I think I as we I was
rile her
barking.
ass up,
I
bro.
was barking in the we karaoke the other night. I was barking in the karaoke spot. It was inappropriate.
What are you doing, DMX?
Yeah, we did a little rough
No,
Riders
somebody was
anthem.
doing Pop Smoke and like doing a terrible job. So I was going, oh, oh. Anyway,
Get this guy off the mic.
Dog
Get
this
off.
man off the mic.
get off the mic. Anyway, I think pre-pandemic and then as I aged, I'd like to think that I was always forward thinking, but a little too gatekeeper type person to think that I
Really?
knew what was cool.
Okay.
Not gatekeeper, but like, oh, new rap is whack or this is
Right.
whack and blah, blah, blah. And I would whine about bullshit.
Kiss.
Yeah, like stop it. You don't know
in
90s
terms of-
R&B, do you? And it's you know who really helped me with that was John.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he sharing some of his insight and then some of the playlists and
Right.
listening to Popcasts and like him
Sure.
being just like a brilliant dude.
When he came in to get his middle part fucking trimmed
Coiffed
up.
up.
like, yo,
Great
play
head
some
of hair.
But like,
Great head of
what's
hair.
Trippy Red.
But I think that evolved into me looking at trend and the idea of trend and being like, listen, no one owns any of this
Right.
stuff, right? One, two,
Well, it's a cycle to begin with, right?
yeah, two, I think the cycle has been disrupted a bit by the way that information's shared in such a fast and vast
Yeah.
way, right? So from looking at shit you guys were doing on Tumblr early on to all the way to now, the point of reference and the access that we have to media in general is insane, right? Like we could look up any reference. I could be like, yo,
Right.
do you remember that scene in Belly? Or I just watched Hoop Dreams again.
Right.
Click of a button after watching the fucking second episode of Hard Knocks or whatever, you know? So I think
Yo,
all
look at the Ezekiel Elliott.
yeah, the Z,
contains
which is
multiple Z's.
interesting. Hey, I'm a Buckeye, so you know, all right, Z.
He's fucking
But,
faded nicely.
yeah, he's an they're
Big Chrome Hearts fan.
interesting dude. He's an interesting dude.
Yeah.
But in any
He's
case,
got good swag.
I don't
Fuck
have a
the Cowboys,
problem
but-
with almost anything that I see now, even if I don't prefer to do it. If that's what's going to make someone feel confident and that's
Right.
what they want, as long as I think it remotely works, let's go.
When it doesn't remotely work, how do you have that conversation?
I think you try to do something that makes them feel like you're giving them a version of
Right, that works
But
for them,
here's why it's better.
Because I feel
here's-
like they ask for something and then it doesn't, and you're like, okay, whatever. This is. Are you sure? And then
But-
they
but-
get it, then they blame you.
Let's
right?
do a
But
little
no
role
doubt-
play. Let's do role play. So Lawrence and I come in and we're like, yo, let me get Lawrence wants the middle part, right? And I want the fucking chip flip. What are you saying to us? What do you
I'm
say,
saying
boys?
absolutely not for either.
yeah, right.
But no, here's what I would say though is like I think I'll still focus on what the pillars are of this accessory, which is hair, which is
Sure.
a very important accessory. It's
most
still
important.
kind of like I know there's a trend, but how can I make you look the best?
How
and what
do
I mean by the best is like here's the best representation of
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And if you ever chase a trend, as you guys know,
Right.
based on a lot of the folks that listen to the
Try
show
hard
and
to die
everything,
hard.
it's
Bingo.
yeah, it's just you just miss. You know?
Do you still feel like to kind of get better as a barber, do you have to stay up on the shifting winds of what's popular? And how do you do that?
I try to keep my ear to the ground as much as I can in terms of like I'll go on TikTok. Like I have a TikTok. There's one thing.
you
and it's
follow,
whack.
Throwing
It's-
Fits? Or?
of course I do.
Yo, we're going to find you, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys haven't
Yo,
posted
everyone
on-
go follow Rob on TikTok.
Don't because you won't see anything. But I try to pay attention and
Yeah.
I'll do my like morning bullshit, you know, like I'll go to like Daily
scroll.
Mail.
Right,
I like,
just see.
I actually enjoy some of the bullshit. I really do. I like knowing what's cool. We've talked about this before with like, and it's not that I know Claire that well, but knowing Drunken Canal, having it in the shop.
Sure.
I don't know what the fuck's going on, but like having an idea makes me feel good. So I always want to have an idea.
Right.
It's not going to embody everything that I do, nor will it
A
ever.
loose grasp,
And
generally speaking,
I
of the
hope
zeitgeist.
that I always have that.
Right.
In some capacity, especially for what I do and what we do.
Right.
It's something to pay attention to, and I do believe it's important.
What's a haircut that you want to see more of?
Ooh.
I think we've seen a little bit more of it post-pandemic, or I don't want to say post-pandemic.
Right.
Because
But
it's
where
a
we're at
time.
currently in the process.
When also a thing to realize, and this is a special thing for me, is when we reopened, it was, last week of June of 2020. There were people that were coming in and were like, yo, I haven't seen anyone in 3 months.
Yeah.
This is my first trip to Manhattan in 3 months or whatever. And for some folks that was 6 months and 9. And
Right.
so we had more to work with. So it was looking at
More
like
clay to shape.
Yeah.
exactly more of a canvas. So it was really fun to see people experiment with hairstyle and with facial hair and different things. And I think folks felt a little bit more confident in trying new shit.
Just branching out a little bit.
Yeah. And what does that mean? It's like,
It's also not going to the office.
This is literally what
Well,
exactly happened to me when I saw you after
no
I'd
doubt.
thrown my cabbage out.
yeah.
It's like,
and you had the bandana on.
Yeah, right,
and I
exactly.
feel like I
Forgot about
never,
Bandana Larry.
Yo,
but
R.I.P. to my guy.
I don't think you had, I don't remember you having like a beard.
No.
Yeah, right. That's
I
a new.
I
That's
still don't.
Well, it's, it's on its way.
it's
but
beard
I think
like.
It's
one of
beard
the,
adjacent.
yeah, exactly. But one of the best things about, and what a tough time we've been through and still are going through in some capacity, was the fact that folks felt a little bit more comfortable in their own skin in trying things. And I think a lot of people that had all their basic needs met and they were not, that either weren't ill or taking care of family members or really worrying paycheck to paycheck, were able to find a portion of themselves that they didn't maybe even know about.
Sure.
And that shit was powerful. And to be part
The
of
ultimate
that.
silver lining, really.
Yeah. And to be part of that. And I know a haircut sounds ridiculous, but there's a lot of
The
people
most
that would
important
got it.
accessory. You said it yourself.
And I do think hair is the most important accessory that you wear in some capacity. So, and that sounds corny, but a lot of shit that sounds corny as I've aged is fucking true.
How many people came back that were like, yo, coming back and seeing this chair is the first time I felt any semblance of normalcy to pre-pandemic life.
well,
And I don't know if people
family
remember
or
this, but like
community.
for me, that was like coming back was just like, yo, we're going to be okay. I think.
There was
Maybe
that,
not.
There was that TikTok meme that was like seeing my barber for the first time post pandemic, and the dude just moans the second the clipper is like,
Yeah, it's fucking wild. Well, there's two things with that. The first is, I think everyone remembers last winter pretty vividly in some capacity that like nothing was open,
yeah,
and people were coming in, and a lot of barbershop conversation is like, yo, what are you doing? You're going on vacation, you're
Yeah,
traveling
what's
home,
up?
blah, blah, blah. And people literally weren't doing anything.
yeah.
It's like,
So some
watch that show again.
yeah, exactly. Like, hey, and
You see Tiger King?
yeah, exactly. That shit that maybe wouldn't have even popped, right?
Right,
Or
right.
probably wouldn't have.
Last Dance, huh?
yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh my God. How funny. I mean, it was incredible, but still.
Yeah.
So many people. I mean, from day one to us opening to us somehow still being able to stay open throughout the heart of the winter. It felt like, I just saw this thing, and this is another corny thing, but Ernie Johnson just spoke to like Alabama's football team or some bullshit. And I don't mean to say or some bullshit, but it sounds like a weird thing to mention during this. But he was talking to them and mentioning that a lot of people say, well, I have to go to work. And he says, I live in a world now where I have a get to job. I get to do my job. I get to go to work. And it took a lot of the things that made cutting at times difficult. And I felt like holy shit, I have a get to job. I have one of those.
Oh, it's like changing your mindset.
Exactly. And it's not that I didn't feel that way, but I'm doing it for a long time now.
Right.
And as fortunate as we are to have you guys and this cosign and all the other things, it's also, I've been very busy. So it's almost like, well, what else?
Yeah.
So in some capacity, it made me feel more fortunate, but the majority of people that were coming in, if not all, I think we shared an appreciation for each other and the community that we have.
Let's talk about some unfortunate motherfuckers, and those are the people with the whack haircuts. What's a haircut? What's a haircut? Whether obviously you're too kind to ever say no, or you are like
opinions and views do not reflect
part of your-
Mildred. This is just Rob McMillen specifically.
part of your job.
I'll reflect Mildred.
Part of your job is
Say something.
I am
guiding people,
Mildred.
Say shit.
guiding people to be their best self.
Yeah.
But what's a haircut you want people to stop getting? Is it like the ironic mullet? Is it
Well,
the fashion mullet? Is it
The Richard Spencer.
Listen, I'll say first and foremost, like a lot of the ironic mullet stuff I never liked.
Right.
You know, and
What about hockey players though?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's an ironic mullet.
No.
I mean, if you're a hockey player,
that's a lifestyle.
Like, if you're a hockey player, you don't have hockey hair. You have fucking hair because you're a hockey player, right? So it's like
lettuce.
So like there are certain people that can pull off all that shit, but I don't. Once again, I pay attention to trend and we try and do that if we have to. But even the TikTok haircut, like I don't think it's the best representation of a lot of folks. You know, especially if like for some reason I'm paying the pay-per-view to watch fucking Jake Paul and that shit just looks heinous.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
You're like, this is garbage, you know? So I don't want to shit on
$1,000 garbage.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on the trend.
Right.
It's like if you want that, like, yo, that's what's cool. But like for me, there's never a time where that's going to be a thing that looks great or we really revisit. Like a middle part, I think it for certain people can be cool.
Is it about just like being beholden to a trend period where it's like, yo, you're going to look back on this and realize that you were a fucking victim to the times?
Oh, yeah, in some capacity. It's like even when guys come in for wedding cuts, which I've done, which feels like hundreds, if not thousands at this point.
Like the wedding haircut, like I'm about to get married.
I'm going to get married. It's like, well, okay, let's try to give you something that like if I look at your wedding photos, I don't know when you got married.
Right.
You want something to be timeless. Now, what does timeless mean? Is a hair part like, you know, because there was a lot of that talk that like, oh, well, the new generation doesn't like hair parts. And like people were mad, like millennials were mad. And I was like, when did older folks ever care about like young people not thinking they were cool? That's the history of everything. Sure. So what the fuck are you mad about? But I think anything that's too trend driven. Yeah. And I mean, also we try to strive for things that are gonna like, maybe last a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's a representation of like, that's a billboard for Mildred where it's like,
I mean, in some capacity, it's more like, hey, bottom line, someone comes in and be like, hey, you know hair better than me. What should I do? I'm like, listen, I know hair in general, but you have to live with this every day.
and you know you better.
So
than anyone.
and you know what you like, what you don't, what makes you feel good.
You know that you have court tomorrow, and
exactly. We can't fuck around. We got to cover up the neck tattoo.
Is a wedding cut the highest pressure scenario that you could be in?
No, this sounds also kind of hilarious, but I tell people like, yo, like I've had a few guys that were like new. Like I literally had someone come in who I met once at a holiday party. He was getting married. He hadn't cut his hair in like 3 years. And he's like, hey, it's my wedding haircut. And it was the first time I met him. And it was great, but it was one of those things that like, if someone's like, hey, this one's really important. It's my wedding day. I'm like, I hate to sound like too blue collar and craftsman, but like every single one of them is important. I don't give a shit if it's your wedding day or a Tuesday. Sure. I'm giving you the same haircut. Like I'm, or at least I'm putting in the same amount of effort always.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the most that I can, so I think the most high pressure situation for me is a lot of the pop-up stuff, a lot of the informal environment stuff, a lot of the L'Oreal stuff.
When you're out of your element a little bit.
Yeah, because I've gotten old.
And that's that's marketing then too. That's like a different
and I've gotten old and comfortable to where it's like for years there's been like, hey, will you come to so-and-so's office or store?
Oh.
And the answer is always no. With the exception, like, I'll go for Teddy.
Of course you will.
No question.
Who's the biggest name you've ever turned down?
I think we asked this one last time and I'm not real sure. It's probably still that we turned out like Daniel Craig was probably still. Because there's no one that I've turned down since. Like, listen, there's some people and I have some hilarious stuff in my inbox and people that call that offer like, hey, I'll pay $1,000. Hey, I'll do this. And I know that sounds like, holy shit, why wouldn't you do that? And I wouldn't do that because at this point, I'm so fortunate in my barbering career that like I have people that have been in that I cut this week. They're like, hey, Rob, I booked October and November and I'm waiting on December, but I don't have anything for September yet. Can you let me know? So I have such a relationship and a bond with a lot of these people that's very real that I genuinely do want to fit them in.
Yeah.
So like that is more important and it makes things.
And there's already not enough time, right?
And it makes my life more sustainable. Like if I would have went and made like $2,500 a pop a day doing bullshit, I guarantee you when the pandemic hit, I probably would have been standing there.
Oh, sure.
And had like 3 haircuts a day.
Yeah.
And I stayed
begging Daniel Craig for a job.
Yeah, exactly. And I stayed completely
Bond.
License to trim, dude.
Yeah, but I was lucky enough to stay completely booked throughout.
Right.
And like that's a thing.
You're a true man of the people, bro.
Well, I was just fortunate to have a relationship with folks. And it's a real one. Even if it's with hundreds of people, like I value it more just as much as anything in my life. Not
cutting hair, much like podcasts, it's a relationship business.
Man,
Trust and relationships are everything. And I think that I'm going to ask you a few questions where we're really going to lean into that trust and lean into that relationship that you have both with us and with the 18 million listeners listening around the world.
Over 20.
Rob,
Yeah,
McMillen.
Got to be over 20.
Who knows where we're
halfway
at now,
in.
to be honest.
Rob Leonelli. What is the best way to shave your balls?
The best way to shave your balls,
And not just balls, but
in
your
my
dick, too.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any sponsors on this shit for
No.
you guys?
No.
All right, well,
Anchor.
whoever sponsors.
Better way to shave your balls, bitch.
If
But not
Manscaped starts throwing some bread, it's Manscaped. Whoever starts throwing money.
Yeah.
is it really
Take that first
Is it
spin.
really Manscaped?
I mean, I think it's an interesting thing. This is fucked up to admit, but I really don't think it's a thing you should do.
You're all natural.
Yeah, man. I
You're
am.
fucking George.
if you had
you're
to do
you're
it-
George H.W.
Well, I think the thing about it is like
Full
there's
bush.
just really not I don't think there's a great way. Plus,
Like,
like
there's-
I don't know, man. Like,
Science has
and hey,
not figured out the perfect
some
way
people,
to shave
I'm
your
sure,
cooch.
and hey, I'm sure there's a lot of people that believe dicks and balls to be beautiful. I'm not one of those people.
Right.
So the more that my shit, especially my old balls, can be covered up, just leave those motherfuckers where they're at. Like leave them there. My wife's in the other room, so maybe she could come on and tell me what she prefers.
Is she like listening, or I can't?
She's
I can't
probably listening,
Okay.
but in any case.
Christine, are you listening? Let us know.
Here's
Okay,
she's listening. Here's what else I would say. If you are so inclined to do any type of manscaping
Right.
or body hair grooming, which
dick.
I also like, I don't think you should shave your chest and shit. I think that's whack.
What about pits?
I mean, okay.
You
If
shave
whatever,
your pits?
I don't have a problem with that. I used to trim mine, and
Okay.
and mostly because this is
Not really a hairy
hilarious
guy.
because I cuff my sleeves, so you don't want to
right.
like pull up and everything else. But
You got
I
to show
think
off
if-
the fucking tats.
Listen, I think if you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do, manscape, body grooming, do not take that shit down to skin. Throw a
Right.
guard on there.
Sure.
And keep your shit safe and keep
Stay
it
vigilant.
and keep
Always
it-
be guard.
keep it kind of natural.
Do you have some like trauma from like when you're just a young buck in Columbus where you just fucking nick your
just nick
sack?
my
Like,
balls?
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely nicked
Who
my
hasn't?
balls.
You
Who
nick
the
sack?
fuck? If
Who
you
amongst
haven't
us
nicked your
hasn't
balls,
nicked sack?
and now I'm old and my balls have so much extra skin that it's nothing but nicks. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? A whole roster,
the whole starting
a whole
five
fucking
MSG.
roster. I was
Shit's
there.
looking
I
like
was there with you,
burlap,
James. I was
nicked
there
up.
with the Knicks roster. Let's go. I
My
was
guy's
there.
fucking John
But
Starks
if-
in
but
the
if there
John
was-
Starks on the
I got
sack.
the dunk. Yeah.
But if you were
McDice,
Patrick
my balls
Udong.
look like Charles Oakley's now. Like that's how.
But if you are a particularly hairy motherfucker and you want to trim, you're saying get a designated thing to do it.
well, another thing, yeah, I will
That's
say
also,
I
is that
don't
true for
know.
your tainted asshole as well. Is that-
Yeah,
is
I
that
mean,
a whole
I don't
different
think-
whole
listen,
different ball game.
Listen, if you're going for the asshole and all that, then see a professional.
Yeah, please.
Come on, dog.
Specialized
Especially if you
service.
live in New York City, you can get somebody
Yeah.
to bleach and all
Any
that.
bodega, they'll wax your
Just
ass.
go, yeah, in the back.
There's a dating app for that.
Especially on Ridge Street. Yeah. Hinge, that's like
Yeah, what do you need?
my perfect Sunday is getting my asshole bleached on
Yeah,
Hinge.
what do you
on
need?
a-
A Sixer
I know-
Presidente? You want your asshole bleached?
Exactly.
Listen,
I'm on the
one-stop
dating
shop.
app Waxer, WAXR.
Triple X's on
Yeah.
that. But yeah, if you're gonna do it, I also think, no joke, I don't know a lot about all the Manscaped types of things and
Right.
that are out there, but I bet they're fucking great.
Oh,
In
yeah.
comparison to what we had to deal with, especially me,
There's got to
some
be like
rusty
the
ass.
the iPod of
Like-
fucking
yeah, like
ball shit.
rusty
there's like
ass
a
dad clippers.
Roomba for your asshole.
Yeah,
right?
like,
I think that's what the new Tesla robot is going to do. Shit's got 10 digits, bro.
feels nice.
All right, here's a more general question about shaving your fucking dick area. Should one, present company included, this guy, I'm pointing at Lawrence.
This is
I'm pointing
a
at Lawrence
question
right
about me.
Law.
should you, if you are so inclined to use some sort of grooming trimmer, should you use a different trimmer for your face and a different one for your nether asshole area? Or
absolutely. There's
Okay.
no question.
Okay, so I should get a second.
Listen,
trimmer.
here's the thing. Listen, for everyone at home that has the home clipper, which I think every guy probably should
Agreed.
in some
What's your
capacity.
favorite?
Like
what's
a beard trimmer or like an actual
But,
like a wall
it could be both.
clipper?
It could be both. If you, let's say you only have one, I think you want the big boy.
Oh,
you
yeah,
want the,
interesting.
And listen,
What's your branded choice?
I think Wall and Andis are the two to go with. Oster's great as well, but like get a Wall cordless like magic clip,
Yeah.
and get either a detailer or an Andis like Slimline Pro. And these are quick searches.
Right.
Unfortunately, there used to be a number of barber supplies around, but the internet fucked that up.
So now you just buy this on like Amazon.
Yeah,
Right.
which is unfortunate,
Right,
man.
sure,
it really is, but that's kind of what it is. But having something at home is important.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
If you're gonna be a gross motherfucker and use the same shit, you have to. No matter what, you
Hey,
still
you're insulting my podcast host.
fine. It's
this
just-
might be
it's
the
just
wake
how
up
it
call
is.
that I need, dude.
you need to get a can of disinfectant and lubricant.
Okay.
That sounds kind of fucked up. This is lubricant for your clipper, not for the shit you're trimming.
Right.
And there you can
Come on
get,
for your ass.
Lawrence is using the same loop.
he's like, Jen, I'm
sex
home.
life.
I'm home.
I'm gonna call you and be like, "It's an
I'm
emergency." So the
fucking
wall
home.
clippers in my ass. I use the lubricant. What do I do now? My mom is hilarious.
Get the lube. Shaving
Just
my dick.
naked in your loafers. The
Yeah.
loafers you make. Trimming
Naked
your
and Afraid
balls.
in the Blackstock and
I'm
Weber.
almost done. Naked and Afraid and in Love, I think is one they have out now. But in any case,
Okay.
get a can. It's called Andis Cool Care. It's literally a 5-in-1 that will make that trimmer or clipper that you bought last 10 years. If you just use it before and after every fucking
So it's just
use.
forget about hygiene. It's a financial decision.
It's a $10 can that should last you like a year, if not longer.
Okay.
And it'll keep
Damn.
that shit ready to go. And that's where a lot of guys go wrong. Plus,
Price
man,
per
like,
wear on that bad boy is
Yeah.
yeah, plus there's a lot of bacteria floating around on that shit. so
Sure.
keep
Well,
it clean.
not me, dude. I'm clean as a whistle, but I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So try to use a different. If and hey, if
Damn, I'm
that's something.
gross. I'm gross, right?
If
That's
it's
what we're-
something you can't afford, then get some Cool Care.
This,
$10
Lawrence,
bucks.
this is actually not a podcast. We're not even recording this in intervention.
right. Damn. Okay.
Your
all right.
fucking
Listen,
dick face.
If there's ever someone in this field that I was going to take advice from, it's obviously Rob.
Well, hey,
so
that that means the world.
intervention podcast by any other name, I'll take it.
That means the world.
Rob, you've been around the block. How many shops do you think you've kind of like worked in over your career? You have to just throw a number out there.
Probably not as many as a lot of barbers have been cutting hair as long as I've been really fortunate. So
you've been doing this for how many years?
Probably on about full time year 11.
Okay, so you're a
Okay.
fucking expert in the field. You
Decade plus in the
I'm
game.
still learning. I'm still learning.
How do you get better? as a
Yeah. How
barber?
does a barber get better? This long in
I
the
think
game?
New York City is a great place for that because you have such a diverse client base and people from all over the country and world. So I think the one thing that's interesting is we might not be the best at one thing, but I think we're really, really, really good and capable at kind of everything, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So that feels really good. So I think that's one way to improve is to be around a diverse client base. But I mean, there's people that do all the barbering shit probably better than we do, but it's in a way, it's like, that's the one thing they do. Like, yo, I do tape ups or shape ups all day and I shave a design in your head.
Yeah.
And it's fucking ill. Yeah. But we will have, someone who wants that and then someone who comes down with hair to the middle of their back. And I think we do a pretty damn good job of both. But yeah, in shop wise, I cut a little bit at my dad's shop and he had two. He had one on Shirley Road in Youngstown. For those who know Shirley Road, which is Brownlee Woods, which is Boom Boom Mancini and Kelly the Ghost Pavlik boxers. Pretty cool little neighborhood if anyone cares, which is no one. Cut that.
You'd be surprised,
Chef. And then, sorry. And then he's over in Boardman now off Market Street. So I've cut in both those shops. So that makes two. Nearly the first BB in East Village. And when I say nearly, I mean, I've cut at BBEV, BBLA, BB, Brooklyn, rest in peace. I cut out at the Usual in Colorado, which was a great place that I almost moved out to own.
Oh, wow.
With Bridget, who's a phenomenal barber and a great spot out there in Denver, excuse me. Numerous overseas, man. I cut it.
So it's
I
gotta
cut
be
it.
like a dozen.
At least 12 to
least.
15. Like the coolest place I ever cut was called American Barbershop. American in Kobe in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
And I was
That's
doing
beef.
this pop-up. It was for BB. And there were like 30 folks taking photos and video.
Yikes.
And there was a dude next to me as I was cutting, doing like, a full floral installation in like a vintage motorcycle. And it was the coolest shit that I've ever done. And then after we went to this sushi spot and drank like bottles of sake and we're ripping cigs in there. My wife shouldn't hear that. I don't smoke anymore, but it was nuts.
Only in Japan.
Yeah.
And it was a phenomenal place. And I was so floored by that. So the cutting hair in Japan was the most humbling experience I've ever had. So I've been fortunate to cut in maybe 15 or 20 shops in a limited capacity.
So needless to say, you are part of white barbershop culture. And which is very much a thing, especially in New York. And like, it definitely started, like Blind Barber is definitely a fucking
Institution.
a pioneer and institution, like in the formation of that, like cool guy barbershop culture.
Yeah.
But today, what is the wackest thing in New York City white barbershop culture that you can point to and just like, yo, I don't need that.
Not
shit in
naming
Mildred right
names,
now.
but just generally.
Well, I think the funny thing about, and I don't want to, it most definitely is like white dude barbershop culture. But what's interesting is that I think we've talked about this before.
That was on a different podcast.
Yeah, some of the segregation in barbering, I don't want to say it's a good thing, but there's something really special and interesting about a Dominican barbershop or a black barbershop or a Russian barbershop or an old Italian barbershop. And I think that some of the trend that, let's say, like a Blind Barber or Fellow, and Frank's was not a white barbershop by any
Frank's
means.
Chop Shop.
Yeah, Frank's, but it was still like, it was a catch-all for, like I said, for people that were like, damn, I don't want to go into one of those shops and have all my hair cut off and maybe just have a sick fade.
Right.
But I don't want to go to the salon either because they're going to maybe hem my shit up and it'll look good on top or something. Yeah. So I think that the positive is that it was a catch-all that, like, you're not spending $15 and you're not spending $100, you're spending $50 and you're getting a pretty good product and you're dealing with a pretty diverse set.
Sure.
And although, like, a lot of our clients aren't black, we do have a really diverse client base. And we also have some folks that aren't, that may, are transitioning or aren't sure how they identify. And that's a really special thing that we learned a lot from, especially one of our friends owns a place in Greenpoint called Baddies, Alana, who taught us a lot about how to approach those situations that we may be just like stupid white dudes and don't know what we're doing.
Totally.
But the wackest thing to me is literally trying to recreate some of that shit that was genuine. Like looking at, like, seeing Blind Barber and, like, painting old barbershop on your window and getting an old vintage barber pole,
old haircut,
and wearing a fucking pair of Red Wings.
Sure.
Like, and that's in general, not even in New York, but, like, I feel like I saw some, shop, and I don't know the shop, and this isn't to be mean, but I think it was, like, in Florida, and the dude was opening up and he had on, like, Red Wings and, like,
raw denim,
selvage denim.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, it's fucking, you're in Florida, bro. Like, you could have so much fun with this shit.
Right.
So
don't be something. Don't.
So it's like kind of copying a formula that's been.
But listen, that's my issue.
Numbers
that's my issue. The downside of the internet, and that's my issue with the world. Like, there used to be a ton of regional shit. I go back to Youngstown, and here's, like, the greasy spoon spot, and now some dudes, like, trying to do, like, a taco place or something. And you're like, what the fuck happened, man?
Yeah.
And you see a lot of people trying to grab
gentrified chopped cheese.
Yeah, or, like, even, like, I think it's
chop shop.
Like, I think it's really cool that people love brands in New York, but you see them, like, all over their shops in different cities, like New York brands, and it's like, it's kind of cool, but, like, is it?
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes that it's like, do things that are regional or that are specific and that are close to you, because I think that barbershops that have real value are ones that at least pay attention to where they are and who the people are that come in, not just what's cool.
Right.
So that's probably my biggest issue. And the other thing, man, is just we've seen the pandemic has thinned the herd a bit, which is sad for some, but there were just so many of these places popping up that had reclaimed wood and fucking bourbon and whatever. And it was just like, come on. And that's why Mildred is the way that it is. Like, dude, the BB thing, the BB EV especially, is the coolest shit I ever walked into.
Right.
And Joji Rodrigo, who put me on, was the coolest guy I ever met and still is. But that was a perfect time for that.
Right.
And it's still really cool because that's
you create a blueprint.
Yeah, that's what BB EV is. And that's fucking still, to me, I mean, there's a lot that's changed. It's like I'm older now and everything else, but do your thing. And that's why Mildred is kind of like, I don't even think our shop's that cool looking. It kind of looks like, some dudes who kind of knew what they were doing and we're still figuring it out.
But you built it out yourselves.
Yeah. And it feels kind of genuine to us. It's
of course.
And
it's honest and real. And that's the lesson.
And you look in the corners of the room and you're like, these motherfuckers definitely laid the tile down here because it's all fucked up. Like, there's so much shit.
Yeah,
that's
hope you cut hair better than you laid
like
tile.
Paul's
Rob.
driving in from a soccer game from his kids, like, all right, bro, I stopped at the Home Depot and we're like, all right, sick. See if they
put your shirt on.
Yeah, put your shirt on and eat some food and fucking let's do some work. But yeah,
I want to ask you a question that is not subjective. I don't want a long-winded Rob answer.
Yeah,
I want to fuck
the real thing.
Sorry, statement.
No.
No.
That's because the nature of this question.
That's because I just talk
too much. This is for this question only.
Let's do it.
How much should you tip your barber? Don't say it based on circumstance and blah, blah,
what's
blah,
the
blah,
right
blah,
answer?
blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to give you a quick long-winded. I'm bad at this shit. We raised our prices like pre-pandemic because it was just a thing to do, but I still haven't really had the guts or the ability to charge most of my folks that.
Okay.
Like, so I'm bad at this, but what should you tip your barber? I mean, like,
is it a percentage? Is it?
I think that it's really hard. I think experience does matter. Someone who's engaged and who gives a shit about what you're doing and who you are, I think matters. I mean, I think there are guys that come in that shouldn't tip me $20 or $40.
Based on what?
based on maybe the fact that they might only be making 50 grand a year or whatever, but they give a shit, you know? And like, so the people that give a shit tip too much, and the people that don't, maybe don't tip enough. I've been really lucky to, like, my average tip is probably $15.
What does Lawrence tip?
Well,
Lawrence isn't allowed to tip.
I'm not
Really?
No, hell
I'm
no.
not allowed to pay
It's
for
not
anything,
happening.
dude.
It's not
You're not
happening.
allowed to tip though.
Ain't not allowed to tip. Not allowed to tip.
I try.
But
You don't think I
listen,
fucking try, bro?
listen, I think so. Our cuts right now on the site are $55. You
And
know,
so-
like if you give a barber a $10 bill after that, is that kind? I think so.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
20%. That's just under 20%.
yeah, just under
Yeah.
20%, which I still think is good. Like, hey, if you want to give him $15, but like, I don't think you need to put the effort in to meet 20 to where, like, you know, someone gives you like $12.50 or $13. Like, I think don't do that, because one, if you're going to give the 12, give the 15. And if you're not, then just give the 10, you know, and you're good.
Who
you
has
know,
$12?
well, I just think, and then, you
Got
know,
a $10 and a $2 bill.
yeah, or whatever you know. And so it's one of those things that, like, I don't think you need to be tied to 20%. Tip what you can, but I think a $10 tip at a barbershop is a kind thing.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a
I think
gesture for sure.
Yeah, anything under that is because, like, hey, you can't afford much more, and that's okay. But that should be why.
Right.
It's for no other reason should it be that.
All right.
So
Is
$10 is nice.
All right. So 10 at a minimum, right?
10 feels kind.
That's
10,
the sweet
10
spot.
is good.
Yeah.
Besides, like, maybe not tipping or under tipping, what's the biggest sin a customer could commit in the sacred space of the barbershop?
Well, we've extended our appointment times, but it was always like, yo, if you're gonna roll in late, like, how about this? If you're new and you're gonna be late, you're brand new, it's bad for us, because we want you. It matters to us that you have the full experience. And what does that mean?
Right. You wanna be right.
What does the full experience mean? It's not like we're giving you a fucking can of Miller Lite and throwing a cape on you. And half the time, Greg's showing one of us something he found on Depop. He's like, boss, look at this shirt or whatever.
Look at these belts.
Yeah, exactly. Or boss, look at this truck or whatever. So, and we're always kind of engaged with the whole shop, which makes it fun. The experience means that I have a chance to get to know who the fuck you are for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And that's really fucking important to me. That's why, that's why I'm happy. That's why I love what I do. If I don't have that chance, I don't want to cut your hair at all. And someone new. Now, if you're a regular and I've been cutting you for years, most of the time we got some leeway, but it also comes down to the work.
Yeah.
And everyone will assume that, oh, well, listen, I only want like a number 2 and this is easy. Like, well, the one thing we do understand about your hair that you might not is how hard it is to fucking cut it.
Sure.
Some people, I can do their haircut in 15 minutes because it just sits. Other people, it's going to take me 50.
Yep. So
try to be on time. And
Please.
if you can't be on time, you know, we try to reschedule you. I know that can be really hard for our shop and especially for me because I'm booked out for a few months.
I'll fucking sprint to Mildred from that train.
Well,
If you're 10 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, early's
Tom
on.
Coughlin.
Hey,
Yeah, I was gonna
early's
say.
on time.
Coach Coughlin called
Early's
it.
on time. Outside of that, just don't be a dick to people. Be polite, be kind, and hey, if you have a photo or inspiration or something like that, don't be embarrassed.
Right.
I see so many guys that are like, I know you don't like this. I'm like, what the fuck? This makes my. You're gonna show me what you want.
Let me pull up
Here's
TikTok real
Lawrence
quick.
again. Here's
Daniel
no, I'm
Craig.
just kidding. But,
Yeah, not me,
here's
dude.
James again.
Here's what I don't want to look like.
Yeah,
It's
no.
like, well, that's
no,
genetics.
No.
That's not
that is
actually.
not the truth. You guys both are handsome
TikTok,
men.
that's fucking fire.
But yeah, so just be
Here's
on
a viral
time.
TikTok.
Be on time. And hey, if you have some inspiration or reference, the other thing is like, don't come late and then sit down and be like, I think I want to do something really different this time.
Right,
It's like,
right.
nah, dog, that's not the
Situational.
move. That is not the move. So kind of understand, you know, the environment and audience. But otherwise, man, we're pretty accommodating and welcoming. I think we have a polite team. We got 7 people total at the shop, you know, a couple managers and the 5 barbers that I think are all really, really good. I think everyone's better than I am. And I'm not saying that to be nice.
Who's the best barber at Mildred?
I think my brother-in-law, as I said before,
Who's that?
Vinny.
Oh,
And then
Vinny from Long
Sanford,
Island.
Michael Sanford Rodriguez is who our newest barber, but like Sanford just is really good at everything.
Wait, who's the worst? Is it Paul? Don't tell me it's Paul.
No, I think
It's your barber.
it's probably me, to be honest.
Oh, well, that's my barber.
Yeah, it's probably me. No, I mean, the thing about it is like, I think everyone is really capable and like, that's the dream, right? Like if I am out and someone comes in and I'm not there, like there's some dude who listens to the podcast who comes in from California who can't get an appointment with me, but can sit with Sanford and they have this amazing experience, or Vinny or whomever. That's the luckiest thing you could have. That's why it's an off day and I can sit here and drink and talk to you guys and not be worried about what's
You guys
going
are
on down the
fucking,
block. So we're lucky. We're lucky.
Barbershop super team.
It's the dream team,
We're
bro.
fortunate.
One thing that is, you know, a constant in barbershops across the country, regardless of race, color, creed, is the shop talk. But when and where, or where does shop talk cross the line? Like, is it kind of like, when you see it, like, or is it
crosses the line with my man Gary Kid Stark Jr. Kid Stark, the best trainer in New York City. No, so Gary's one of my clients from Brooklyn who's a former boxer and will come in and light the place up, and he's the man. But where does it cross the line? I mean, first and foremost, like, any misogynistic, racist, homophobic,
no hate speech,
sexist. I mean, like, it's just come on, it can't happen.
What do you like? What do you?
This isn't your therapist's office.
Have you ever had that happen? And what? How do you?
I mean, I think there's been times where some things happened where people didn't realize. And now I'm at the point now where I've been cutting long enough to where it's like, it's a quick correction, and not in like where I'm like demeaning someone. No, because I don't have, if someone misspeaks and then I can have a conversation with them, because I know that in my time at 42 years old, I probably misspoke a ton.
Sure. Who has it?
So I'm going
to do it for a living.
Yeah. And I'm going to take accountability. But when it comes down to it, like, there's just zero hate speech. And then furthermore, we try to leave a lot. Folks are going to want to talk about politics. And I mean, come on, think about the time we're in right now or different things. And a lot of that conversation we're all in line with, but there's times too to where like we want to be a little bit more solution based. And sometimes when you talk about a lot of the people in power, a lot of these folks represent a lot of what we're not in some capacity. Right. So we try to like bring it back to like, let's think about community. Let's maybe pay a little bit more attention about what we're doing in local elections. And I'm not saying that we're that dialed in politically, but it comes down to trying to bring it back to New York and how lucky we are to be in this bubble.
Have you ever had to 86 someone? Just fucking Jazzy Jeff them out the door?
No, we haven't had Uncle Phil. I think it's Uncle Phil.
Tosses DJ.
You
got Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, Jazzy Jeff's the
Uncle Phil is fed up.
Uncle Phil, rest in peace.
Yeah.
By the way.
First things first.
Damn. It still fucks me up when Will's dad doesn't show up. Everyone knows it. And if you don't know it, you should. But in any case, no, I don't think we've ever had to throw someone out. We've had these opportunities to potentially phase someone out based on not being accommodating.
Okay.
Interesting.
But for the most part,
are you just like, yo,
again, the not being a courteous
that's another thing where it's like some guy's like, yo, I think my barber just broke up with me.
Yeah. Well, and I want to say this is to anyone who's listening who's been struggling with an appointment, especially with me. You've
been phased out, bitch.
No, you haven't.
You just got Uncle Phil.
99.9% of the people I am trying to follow up with or get back to, I just need to get a little bit more organized. That's what it comes down to. I'm a little overwhelmed right now.
Do you want to borrow our assistant?
Hell yeah. I want some shorts. No, I just need to do a better job and I need to carve out time. And we've all been lucky enough to be so busy and we have such a social atmosphere that like when I get off work sometimes, like it's not my first thought to go check email for 2 hours, which is what I should do.
Right.
But normally it's like, we'll go and like, I'm shooting pool with Greg or we're at the beach with Paul or my wife and I are out. Like we're trying to enjoy it a little bit as well.
Try to live your fucking life.
That's what makes us happy at work. It's what makes us who we are at work. Cause there's a lot of our lives that we want to remain honest and genuine. We're just normal, like people trying to work, but there's a little bit of the aspiration of being in New York that we want to soak it up, especially after this year, even though it's tough right now. So, I don't
think anyone would hold that against you. I mean, I think that's like
answer again. Sorry.
I think that's like a fatal flaw with a lot of people that work for themselves to some degree, where it's like, having a handle on fucking the work-life balance. And then also like being like, well, I'm my own boss. So like, I don't want to answer email for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe I should work with a guy who will do that.
Well, yeah. And you know who does the most for me and even us when it comes to that? It still is Christine. Christine will be like, hey, you guys.
Your better half, truly. Just like my better half over here.
Yeah. She's phenomenal. I mean, she's literally the glue of everything for me. And
is Love Jeanette and Mildred, is it like a single
so
operation?
It's two separate LLCs, but we, what's funny?
Shared resources.
Well, since the podcast, I talked some shit on the old show, and now that I'm on the new show,
I don't know
all the shit I talked happened.
Yeah,
so I'm so lucky to where like
you manifested it, bro.
Well, I think you guys really put some asses in
I don't know, maybe.
Thank you. I owe you a check, but we were able to from that
free
time
cuts for life.
Cool. Yeah, Christine was in the back of the shop.
That's right. In the sink area.
Yeah.
Right?
And then, since then, we negotiated, which took some time. We did an amendment to our current lease.
Oh, aggressive expansion.
Yeah. And
tryouts.
And they're next door. So that caused us to expand the shop as well. Right. So they have a 4-chair salon next door, which is equal to the square footage. So we took on like double.
Yeah.
But Christine runs it. And when it comes and her business partner, Jenna, and the ladies over there are phenomenal as well. Whitney, Sean, and Raina. They're phenomenal. The guys at the shop are phenomenal. It's literally kind of one big happy family. I mean, we might talk a little shit.
Of course. Who hasn't?
If we didn't, what the fuck, right? So, but we're lucky, man.
You're
we're
Italian.
Really, yeah. Hey, we're really lucky. So, yeah. So since then we've expanded and, it's been great.
One of the things that like small business owners have had to kind of grapple with is the ever changing, laws coming down from
policies.
Fucking the Bozio, right?
The bozo.
Billy D, huh?
Fucking Mr. What's the fuck is his name? Mr. Ousted.
Mr. I'm not a pervert. I'm just Italian.
Wow. Maybe I don't want to change the name.
Yeah.
Andrew Groppo.
Yeah.
But have you had, so now I think that businesses are required to, and it'll be enforced soon, you have to show proof of vaccination to enter a lot of like small businesses, right? So have you had to deal with anyone who's trying to get a cut that refused to wear a mask or refused to like show proof of vax, if that's what you guys are doing right now?
I gotta say, not even close.
Really?
Okay.
I mean,
good.
the types of folks
You fucking prepared? I mean, I know you fucking, is that why Paul's been working out?
No violence, especially at my old age. But
you got scissors.
yeah, exactly right. We have been beyond fortunate to have the most understanding and supportive client base that you could ever have through such a situation. That there's been no question. If anything, when the mask mandate was lifted and we felt comfortable enough to do so, people were coming with masks and double checking.
Right.
People unsolicited are showing vaccine cards. I mean, the funny thing is for a lot of us, or really all of us at shop in some capacity, like I know nearly all my clients' vaccine story, like how hard it was to get an appointment, how they felt after shot 1 to shot 2, what happened with the family, all that type of shit. So we've been in this thing together.
Sure.
It's been complex.
How they react to the microchip and
5G and all the whatever the
What their service is like.
whatever the fucking
They're booting up to
nonsense the
2.0.
world is. So we've been really lucky, and it's literally allowed us to do our job.
Yeah.
I mean, without it, I don't even know that we would feel comfortable or confident enough to be able to provide the service we provide. So it's our livelihood, and it's literally kept us alive in more ways than one. So I'm a huge proponent. I mean, I understand there's fear and there's a lot of there's politics around it and so on, but I can't stress the importance of the opportunity for us to get vaccine and our clients and for us to be able to do what we do.
Keep politics out of barbershops, dude. That's what I'm fucking.
I mean, let's love each other a little.
Well, I don't know if some people conflate media with politics these days, but recently you guys had a big feature. Eric and Paul, two of the other two co-founders.
I founded the shop with Eric, and then Paul came in with the secret Long Island bag.
So
where did you get this money, Paul?
fell off the back of a truck.
He's my cousin. Come on. You're like, what? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Paul joined in.
He embezzled it from his children's soccer league.
Right, exactly.
Eric
he was just doing side bets. DraftKings.
My kid's a ringer.
Yeah.
Eric and Paul were included in this huge New York Times feature that was like on 115 of NYC's essential workers.
Yeah.
How did it feel to have your boys next to firefighters and nurses?
I mean, my wife was in it as well.
Oh, that's right.
Shit.
Sorry,
Sorry.
to mention.
How did it feel to have you guys?
I have to say that it was probably one of the cooler experiences because based on their lives, especially Paul's, Paul is his schedule has to be so regimented that a lot of the extra shit he just can't do because he's that type of dad.
Right.
I quit my full-time job and started podcasting just so I could get haircuts from Paul during the week because he doesn't do weekends.
Right. And he's so bound to that in a way that's like probably the most inspiring thing about him. And then Eric, in a similar fashion, he'll do anything, but he literally doesn't care. Like, I think he was really happy, but it's like, hey, there's this extra thing going on. He's like, yeah, I would do, if you need me,
I'll do it.
If you need Eric, he's the first guy there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter to him.
Right.
He loves his life. He has so many other things that he does. The cutting hair is a vehicle for all that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So to see both of them like kind of front and center,
Get the shine.
it was nice because I've been so lucky to I've been in the Times and I've done a lot of these things. And I think sometimes people think it's like, I'm trying to do it. It's more so like, I do realize
under Dr. Fauci shit.
Yeah,
because you're handsome as fuck. That's the answer.
I think, but also too, I've always realized the importance of like, hey, that could, when my brother-in-law was new, that could get my brother-in-law a few haircuts that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That could get Sanford.
That's why you're on this podcast.
We got 5 chairs. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
and it's not about us because we try to give those guys.
You understand how the personal brand can like have a positive impact on the bottom line.
Ripple effect.
Yeah, earned media is what it's all about. I don't want to have like a PR person or want to put up a fucking ad or whatever.
Yeah.
So one, it was really great.
Cut is earned media.
Here's the other thing too. The 3 of those people are very hypercritical about themselves in a way, like especially my wife, like I don't look good in that photo, this, that. And 1, they all looked phenomenal.
They did.
2, they all felt really good about the finished product.
Sure.
And we had other friends.
It was a beautiful kind of portfolio.
We had other
by the
friends in
times.
there as well. Like our friend, Dash, our friends from Friends and Lovers, who's a DJ, and we knew some other folks in there and so on. So it was like, he was a part owner of that place and one of our dear friends. He's close to the BB guys. And like, so you're thumbing through and looking through and you're like, I know some of these people.
Murderer's row of fucking essential workers.
Yeah, man. And it like to even be included at all, it almost felt like, wait, do we matter?
Right.
And I think from a psychological standpoint,
barbers matter.
It was like, well, it was just more so like, it's nice to be included with people that are really
that are putting their lives on the line.
Literally. And that some of these people that it might even be like, oh, well, why are they still working? It's like, motherfucker, because they have to.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever feel like you're putting like your lives at risk by bringing people into the shop at like the height of COVID?
I think that would feel a little extreme. I felt like I was I worried a lot about my mother-in-law.
Sure.
When I was going to go see her. I still haven't been back to Ohio to see my dad.
Really? Damn.
No, like, and he cut 6 days a week. So I was worried about him.
Sure.
I think I was worried about everybody. And then there was a time where we had a COVID scare, not even a scare. Paul, Eric, and Sanford all got COVID.
All at the same time, right?
Same time.
Yikes.
And I'll never forget, like, Christine looking at me and I saw her like well up a little bit. Like, are we okay?
Yeah.
And like that fucked me up.
Sure.
That gave me that moment to where like, where the fuck is COVID at? I'm trying to fight, like, and I'm not that way, but it really was like, if my wife, these tears, like she's afraid and I don't want to be a hyper masculine.
You're just out here punching air.
Yeah. But it's one of those
We'll go
moments.
19 rounds with this.
Yeah. It was one of those moments where you're like, no. So, but for us, I can't speak for the other guys. I think we were fearful of who we could affect. And I didn't want to ever have to make that call to be like, yo, Lawrence, we tested positive. And then you saw your folks or Jenna's folks or something that would fuck me up.
That's like a brutal.
It's been about the trickle down with that. And that's been the scary thing. But for us, I think
clearly
we
you've never had an STD.
As far as I know. Okay, you have to take these antibiotics.
Wait, so why weren't you in the portfolio?
Let's talk about it because Eric and Paul, they're both very handsome fellas, right? But compared to you, they look like dog assholes.
Well, I don't believe that to be true at all. That is not true to all the
Eric,
listeners
Paul,
out
please
there.
don't fucking stab me when I walk into the shop.
But I actually went to I was at the shoot and they took all of our photos.
Okay.
They took my photo, they took Sanford's photo, and they also took Christine's business partner Jenna's photo.
And you guys got cut.
Well, we got cut, and I think to be completely honest, I think for a moment you're like, oh, that's kind of sad that we all weren't in it.
Right.
But then you're like, how many, and Sanford's not, a all white dude. But then I also was like, you don't need to throw all us motherfuckers in here. Like at an angle, me and Paul look related. So like, come on,
That's the biggest compliment he's ever gotten.
Well, he's a handsome guy. So it was one of those things where like, I think that I was a little sad for Jenna because she is also such, a beautiful woman. And like, I think her and Christine, sometimes I look at them like, wow, you guys like have this thing and you're so striking. But all told, like I think they had 115 people. They came and took photos. And, I wasn't feeling myself that day. So maybe that was part of it.
Were you hungover?
Also,
I heard that you were unfortunately very backlit by the front window.
Yeah, maybe I was a little backlit. I was growing out a goofy haircut. I got this one now. But I think, all told, like those guys literally looked phenomenal. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that was the other thing. I think that their photos look better. Yeah. That was it.
First thing I asked when I walked in recently was like, "Yo, let me see a paper copy right now."
Yeah, and that was a cool thing to see in print. Yeah, So it was nice. It was really
in
nice.
the paper of record.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like who knows where we're at with COVID right now, but at least Mildred, you kind of had a chance to like step back because you had a crazy year or two or a few years of like opening up until COVID. And at least you had a moment to breathe and like catch your breath and maybe like take a step back and look around.
Little reset.
With this reset, if you want to call it that, like, did you realize if there's anything you want to do differently with Mildred or kind of like, adjust or tweak anything?
Well, I think the first thing is that for those of us that had our basic needs met, I mean, the first thing I did was like look at everything and be like, yo, are we going to make it? Meaning like, are we going to be able to keep our apartment?
And you know what Jadakiss said?
We gonna make it. He said it.
Yeah. So it was unclear. It was unclear.
Well, at first, we've been able to save. And the main reason we've been able to save money is I have that contract with L'Oreal.
Yeah.
But we had just, I mean, listen, we bootstrapped the salon. We opened a full salon January something 2020.
Right.
Oh.
So we took a
Timing
lot.
was never your strong suit.
Yeah.
That's when we also launched our podcast.
Yeah. Timing was never our strong suit.
Exactly. But it was like, you know, the first moment that things got really scary, and this is crazy, and I'm a pretty big NBA fan, but the NBA stopped playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like that night.
That night, that night, like I was sitting having a beer, and we were seeing all of these shops talking about like their like cleanliness protocol.
Right.
And it kind of made me not upset, but I was like, listen, a lot of barbering in the process is about sanitation. Like what else can we do?
You should already be
like, what are we doing? You know?
Clean.
So I think we put up a little thing and we felt pretty confident, and we had a really great Friday. And by Saturday night, a week, maybe 10 days before we had to shut down, we closed the shop and salon. We just decided like we care about our people too much.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Press the button.
So for the first week, I kind of wallowed and like was like, all right, I got a little bit of a retirement fund. Let's cash that out. I got some cash, under the mattress. Let's see how much that is. Had the conversation with my mother-in-law, who's a saint, who was like, you guys can move out to Long Island rent free and live in the house. I was thinking like D-Day, because we weren't sure.
Like literally DEF
at the time, we were not
scenario.
approved for unemployment insurance. And throughout this time, major changes for everyone at the shop.
Sure.
And we just opened a salon. So once we got through that, we got approved for unemployment, which everyone's heard that story, but it was terrible and it was a bear. We missed out on PPP for the first round, but we were able to be here, and I tried to focus on like, I'm going to build a routine every day. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to clear my head and I'm going to exercise, and then I'm going to drink some Bloody Marys. We're going to watch some funny shit. Luckily,
I had that exercise.
Yeah. And then the shop's a block away. So it felt safe enough so I could walk down and like inventory everything in the basement.
Right.
Put records on. Like there was a night I sat down there and probably drank like 15 beers and listened to every record we had. And was like, I'm going to die. What's going to happen? What's up with the world? Climate change, masks. I hope my parent, my mom and stepdad, as I mentioned before,
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
They're addicts, and I'm like, how are they going to be? They're
Right.
addicts. They live in the streets sometimes. Like what? That's a little extreme, but like I was fearful that they would.
But it's
be.
real shit.
Yeah. And then my dad, he works 6 days a week. He's a barber.
He never stopped.
He did stop.
Okay.
He did some like questionable, like, hey, I can cut in this basement. I'm like, no, you can't. He lives in Ohio, though.
Please don't.
Yeah,
Open
yeah.
the window.
So,
Yeah.
but we took the time, and it was a beautiful reset when we reopened. I was working 3 to 4 days a week. It felt safe enough to go see my mother-in-law finally. We spent a little time on Long Island. I worked on a couple old cars. We spent a lot of time.
It really is work-life balance for you, bro. That's really what it's coming down to.
And it created a thing where like when I wasn't in the shop because of the mandates, I couldn't be in the shop. So when we were gone, we were gone.
That's great.
I didn't go down
Or
to
the
touch
silver
shit up.
lining again.
And I think everyone got a little bit healthier. Mind you, we were lucky people to have our basic needs met.
Sure.
We were not, I'll tell you, if I had kids or a mortgage or some shit was going down, I don't know what I would have done. But luckily we didn't have to.
Right.
So it was a great reset. And
Just the dog.
Yeah. And I feel like we're healthier, happier, just Hattie. Yeah. Healthier, happier, and more focused. But I'm slipping, some of that's slipping again because we've gotten so busy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to balance it.
I'm sure everyone's trying to get in. Well, you got to remember that mindset, bro. Right?
Yeah.
That's key.
And that's a thing that the opportunity costs and all the other things. But we felt like we built a better routine. My wife and I had longer conversations and got to know each other more. I got a chance to reconnect. I have such a great friend group in Ohio. So it was a lot of FaceTime,
Sure.
a lot of this and that. And that shit got old, not with friends.
Zoom happy hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but then we had some friends, we did some upstate trips, and my friend Kareem has been up a few times, who's like my heart in Columbus, along with some other folks. So like to have that and to get grounded from that again was amazing. And to have the varying conversation too. Like I got one buddy who has 4 kids. My buddy Connor, he's like, I had to explain to my 4 kids in different ways because of their age ranges of why we're not going on vacation, why soccer's canceled, why this is happening. And then someone else who's like, hey, my wife and I are splitting up and I'm losing the house and everything. So, and then other friends who are like, damn, I'm trying to fuck. You know, I'm single and I don't know what to do.
So horny, Rob.
Yeah, so I was juggling all of these
I've watched
people.
every porn.
Exactly. I was juggling because my friend group's so different from the years in Ohio to here that it just was like, people are going through a lot
our
right
text
now.
conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
I did watch.
Sorry.
I did make it to page 419 of Pornhub.
But now you're doing it.
Score.
Damn, Pornhub's been around since
Who
1997.
is Skin Diamond? Anyway.
Well, not to add more to your plate or anything, but one thing that I think Lawrence and I were both hoping to see
I mentioned
come
this
out of
every
the
time I
Mildred
see him.
universe. Bro, when are we going to see some more Mildred merch?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of goofed a little because we did the Club 124 thing that has a little Mildred, but it was a collaboration.
Sure.
And we're really proud of it. And it actually did
sick.
Do you want to tell people what this is in case they aren't aware?
I mean, yes and no, because we're kind of out of kits for the most part. So we're going to try and do a restock.
The beach
more
kits.
Yeah, we have like pieces.
Sure.
So we're out of like full kits. But we have pieces that we need to see what we can build and so on. But we did a little beach kit that we thought would be fun. We had a couple, we just were a little lazy and got to it late. And we thought, if we drop this by July, that should be good. And it should have happened in May.
Right.
But
you're
it's
talking
still,
to the fucking experts here.
yeah, but it's still
This man literally gives me my bag. Goes, by the way, please don't put this on social media. I'm like, do you not know anything about Flow Team, bro? That's the whole point.
The funny thing is it was fun. And
which is what matters.
It was fun and we're proud of it. We did a towel that had a little play on Mildred and Love Dunette. And we did a frisbee, like a legit disc. We did a koozie, a lighter, and a tote. And everything was fun.
The essentials.
Starter pack.
Yeah, and it was fun, and I still think it is fun. One, I think it was priced a little high. We thought it'd be cool to do like 124, and I was like, gosh, is this? But we spent a lot on it too.
Right.
This is our first venture into something real. We did T-shirts, which was one-off and cool.
Right.
With the basketball with
that's a classic, bro. If you have one of those, you're fucking big.
Well, we're gonna do those.
Mine has
again.
coffee stains on it.
Mine is destroyed.
Listen, we're gonna do those again.
Thank
and
God.
It's probably gonna be a spring thing.
Hell yeah.
And then we're working on a short sleeve crew neck sweatshirt right now.
That looks sick.
It's got some really nice like lower left.
Very much a raw
areas.
piece, like a short sleeve.
It feels
crew neck
good.
shirt
I want
with
to
the
I want to fucking tinker under the hood in that bitch.
Exactly. It feels like that thing you could tinker under the hood or get in a ring or whatever. So we're just working on finalizing that, and hopefully we get that out October-ish. We want it to be kind of
piece for
October,
fall.
November, kind of like holiday / we were gonna do more, but we're just a little busy, and
you're handling the day-to-day slog.
and we realize that like this shit it's a lot of work.
It is.
And we have people that can help us, but also too we care enough about the process of making things, and I enjoyed enough to where we're gonna be.
You want to be involved. You don't want to fucking pass the buck.
So that's gonna happen.
Make a buck.
And we want to do. I'd like to do one thing like 4 things a year or 3 things a year, like fall, spring, summer, some bullshit.
It's not your main shit, right? You can do this stuff as you want.
But the funny thing is I want to do things that I really love, and then there's that kind of like friends that look at it like, well, are people going to want that? And you got to toe the line a little bit, right? But what's nice is we could take a couple risks, and
we're going to make Mildred vintage cars.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a
Mildred mobile, dude.
Yeah. But I'm excited about that. We'll do the T-shirt again, and we might try to do a little Mildred home thing where we do like a little incense burner, or we do a little thing. We're just like we're working on it.
How can we bring the Mildred vibe home with us? That's what you got to. That's what you.
And the other piece of that is potentially looking. If there's a way to do a product line at some point, legally I can't with L'Oreal right now,
right?
But I want to,
like real grooming products,
like grooming products, and like kind of looking at that and at a price point that's accessible and things that we can stand behind, but to do shit that's good, that feels like it stands apart. As I said last time when I was on the previous show, is a lot of products are the same.
Yeah.
So how do we give you
it's all white labeled?
Yeah. So how do we do something that's special, and we could do that? By not like getting in like, a bunch of investors are trying to do a tap dance.
The shit is not cheap.
Yeah. And right now with L'Oreal, like I can't, because I work with L'Oreal on a barber club line that's mostly in the UK and Asia, or in Europe and Asia, I should say. And it does really well. And it's a great opportunity for me to travel and cut and learn. I've learned so much to work with a small brand, big brand. So we're going to try that. That's a future goal.
Right.
And maybe we do that with my wife in the salon. Maybe we do it separate. Sure. Who knows?
Oh, well, that's when you're coming on the podcast next.
We just want to keep,
when you're doing your press junket.
Yeah. We want to keep digging. We do. But we cut hair a lot
one
too.
Way to kind of, one way to increase exposure of the Mildred extended universe is, as we know, is collaborations, right? Besides Throwing Fits, besides Love Do Net, if you could collaborate with one brand on, let's just say merch, Mildred merch, who's it going to be?
If you had your druthers.
Well, I'll say that I don't know that there's any brand that would want to do this, but one, we're really close with the guys at Knickerbocker.
Shout out Aton.
We actually did also, the first call during the pandemic, days in, it was like Aton and AJ.
Yeah.
Andrew from Knickerbocker. They called me and they're like, hey, we're going to do this COVID-19 tee. The back's going to be a take on like a Vietnam lighter that has like a phrase. So I think it was like,
war is hell.
COVID
is hell.
Yeah, it kind of. It was like, fuck COVID-19
Sure.
because COVID loves fucking me. And they did just a Knickerbocker like city thing. And they, after cost, they, donated all the money to us.
Oh, nice.
So I think it's like we have that relationship. I've been so lucky to be close with Teddy from MA. And I think that they are just, it's insane.
On fire is not the right word.
I mean, it's wild. Even though I saw some of that fall shit before it happened, and I was like, you feel weird complimenting someone that does. I don't even know how to compliment you now, bro. So wow, and that's
speechless.
So we love being like associated with brands like that. I mean,
you're in the fucking lookbooks.
Well,
right? We've seen you in front of family stuff.
Well,
I mean,
as you are, but I think the best thing for us is those people. They will help us. It's not like they're gonna put their name on our shit, but like having that.
Yeah.
Is the get to part of what we do.
Sure.
So knowing the cheat codes.
Yeah. So is there any other brand? I mean, I hate to say it, but probably not because we have a couple brands that I think Knickerbocker and Amay are doing things that are just as great, if not better than anyone else.
You'd be eating that shit up if you weren't homies.
And we know, and we know them and I have genuine relationships with those people.
Right, good people for sure.
So what else is there? Like that, that's the moment where you're like, I can't even believe I know these people. And I can't even believe I get a chance to spend time in their spaces. So
Mildred Throwing Fits coming soon.
That's another thing though, to like do something with you guys. I don't know where our value comes in.
You have a physical space that we can party
value.
in.
It's 4 walls and a roof.
Yeah.
It's pretty
and
clear.
some running water.
It's the most tangible thing possible.
What I think would be great though, what I would love to do with you guys would be to be like more of where we still get down, but like a kind of like a, I know you did the barbecue and I would have been there if I wasn't working.
Totally fine,
of course.
Bro.
But like to do a smaller, like, what if we did like a 15 person like thing where we get a chance to like, it's not recorded or whatever. We get a chance to fucking chat and have a meal and like real wine and all that.
That's what I want to do. You. 2 lucky winners get their hair cut by Jimmy and Larry.
Hey,
lucky winners. And sounds like losers.
And then Rob and Paul or whoever come in and fucking tidy up the mess.
Hey, I think
like the Winston Wolf.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do a raffle. Let's donate the shit to charity.
Yeah, sure.
Like, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's fucking do it. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Or donate it to
talking about
charity meeting.
But James and I have been throwing around the idea of like maybe like a private dinner series, which it would be cool to.
I think that would be great to be a part of.
Not something that's like content, but something that, maybe we'll probably talk about it later ourselves. But
I think you
doubling down on the people that we love,
you guys
that care about us.
If you guys were to do that and we could help in some way, you know what I mean? Or be part of it, be part of one, I would love to do something like that.
I mean, every time I'm at 124 Ridge Street, Mildred, get your haircut there now. I'm always like, when are we going to do something here?
Yeah.
And I have heard whispers of a new space. What are we talking about, Rob? Are we talking a new? Are you going to move shop? Are you going to open up?
There are literal whispers. I would say that,
but not careless whispers.
I think
you're gonna be the next Supercuts.
They're definitely not careless. Yeah, no. I think I would actually. That would be my nightmare to ever have more than a couple shops. Seems ridiculous. I think I miss Brooklyn a lot.
Yeah,
I've only cut hair in New York City. Regularly speaking. A Brooklyn offshoot, like a Mildred Presents or an offshoot or something. And this is something I haven't even really spoke with the guys about. But I do
breaking news.
Hey, guys, listen up. But given that I handled a lot of the administrative stuff and still do, I can't tell you the countless amount of spaces that I get from real estate people and friends. Like, check this out. What about this? What about this? And it's more so to where I always have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So would I like to do something else somewhere else that was Mildred or Mildred adjacent? Absolutely. Is it in the works as like the salon was in the works on our last job?
Right.
We manifested that.
Yeah, exactly. But is it a definite possibility? Absolutely. I will say we have some friends that open a shop on Mulberry Street called Tuft. And before that, I was thinking like, do we take a shot and be over in the mix? Because we're friends with the MMA folks and we like a lot of their guys come in and like, do we do a thing that's a little against our judgment because we like being off the beaten path?
Right.
And being able
Move
to,
closer to the nucleus. Is
exactly.
What you're saying.
But then some friends of ours did that. You know, Miles and that crew over there, they got a beautiful shop, and I'm not going to be that dude that's like, well, we could do something close and it's cool. So I want to do something that feels genuine and real, just like we did. Ridge Street's a weird space. So I would most likely say within the next few years, I hope we have an idea that we're either doing something or improving our current space and doing more with it. Right. One of the two, 100%. Along with
fucking
what else?
Stay tuned, motherfuckers, because
we're gonna keep working.
Mildred doesn't die; it multiplies.
Yeah, as I've said, we all cut hair sometimes 5-6 days a week.
Right.
We sometimes do 12 to 15 haircuts, and that's still our life, and we still enjoy that. So to make the time has been hard. And I'm not trying to say like there's people that are way fucking busier than us.
Sure.
But we can't multitask. I can't sit here and be like, hey, hold on real quick while I fucking shape you up and I'm going to answer an email. You just can't do it.
Right.
So we got to make time. We got to make time.
Well, I think that, I mean, this podcast has been with you, but it's also very much been with your colleagues and your peers. And I think like that's what makes Mildred special, right? Is that the relationship that you guys have within the shop itself.
It's a family.
You know, I have some relationship with this guy over here, and this motherfucker.
Some relationship.
I'd call this more than some relationship.
Where is this transition going?
Same relationship.
I
saw Larry taking.
I got some semblance
shit
of a
from
relationship
Migos
with
on the throwing fits. And I was like, damn, I cannot.
I got bodied.
You guys.
I got bodied for content.
What you've built
wasn't the first time.
Hey,
the last time we got bodied for content, we just got our ears pierced.
I hope you guys are proud of yourselves because the shit you do is amazing.
Just because we get to hang out with you and drink beers on a Tuesday.
We're fortunate for that.
So this guy I know, Lawrence, right? He listened. I've learned that he like will listen to me. Like there's a very like there's a certain period like if there's like a rising moon and like the fucking tides are right and everything.
Where he's trimmed his balls.
Exactly. Yeah. He's gone from balls.
Balls are
freshly shorn, so I'm listening to you.
And then now he's shaving his face with it. He'll listen to me, right? And I think that he'll listen to you is one of the few people, and like his mom and his dad and like his wife, and like that's it.
Oh, I see. It's
the only people.
It's a select group of people that I will like give you advice.
I feel
his inner
very
circle.
Fortunate to be part of that group. I don't know that I actually am, but thank you.
Come on,
yes, it's you. So let's give him some advice. You obviously are fucking tattooed up the wazoo, right?
Yes, which I can't say is for everybody, and even for me at times, I'm like,
really?
Sometimes it just draws attention you don't want.
Okay,
like what? Like look, the sailor.
Why do you get them in the first place? Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But you do that. You know, I was 30. Right. And in New York, and like, damn, I'm not working, you
got some titties on your arm.
Exactly. I'm not working in higher ed anymore because I was, as I don't know if a lot of people know, but I worked in higher ed for years and I took kind of the barbering leap because of my dad. But anyway, you start to get shit. You think you're cool. You're feeling yourself. And then you get a little bit older.
This is a 35-year-old.
You get a little bit older. And then
my life right now.
We went into Billy Mark West by MSG before the verses, before the fight, just to shoot some pool. We know it's a hole in the wall. And like, you know, I walk in and the first thing I hear from some, dude at the bar is like, who's this tough guy? You know, and you're like, God damn it. I know my t-shirts are snug and old. And
Did you fight him?
Oh my God, no, I bought him a beer. I was like, hey man, let's get him a beer. Because I had no conflict. Everyone does fucking MMA and jujitsu now. I don't trust any motherfucker. I'm courteous.
If you see a cauliflower ear, buy him a beer.
Yeah. So the tattoo thing is a little like at times, and my wife will speak to this more than me. There's times where you just don't want the attention. And that's why you got them in the first place. And you're like, God damn it.
Well, I'm a fellow Inkman myself, but Lawrence, not so much. However, he is recently into body modification. Hence the piercing and everything.
Ear rungs.
Hence the snake.
The ear rungs look. They look good. They look.
You are
for real. They look good.
I mean,
it's not even a. This isn't an empty.
Besides Lawrence's wardrobe, you are very much like the man in control of Lawrence's aesthetics. So
okay. Oh, because of my hairs. Yeah. Okay, got it.
It's a small piece.
Beard too, I assume.
The most important accessory in your own words, though.
What should Lawrence's first tattoo be if he were to get one? And what and where?
What and where? I like that. I have friends that have that just like middle bicep right here. You know, just the one.
Yeah.
And I think
very like old school.
Yeah. And I think that's like maybe
mom
somewhat different than your personal style. However, you've always been that I feel like you have like a very like timeless, handsome dude aesthetic.
Thank you.
No, it's
dude.
just true.
Chef, flip that out.
No, do not. Hey, chef,
Episode's over.
do not. You do.
Thank you.
So I think something in that regard, like
Yeah.
an old, like a literal, like just piece of flash off the wall,
Like an
bang.
anchor?
No, not an anchor because that's getting a little.
Right.
That's going the wrong way. I think.
Mermaid, like what? Like American art.
Like one of my favorite tattoos is my friend Matt. He literally has Daffy Duck, or not Daffy.
Donald Duck?
Donald Duck.
Scrooge
Sorry,
McDuck?
Donald Duck as a sailor
Oh,
on
nice.
his body, and it's just one right here. And I just
Gucci.
always just thought it looked so sick. You can get Gucci.
Get the Gucci print down your entire.
yeah,
I'll
just
get the
with
Gucci Disney.
cone.
Yeah.
I just think if you're gonna do one, get one that's kind of visible. Because
Yeah.
if you do
Okay.
something that's like a little hidden or kind of like,
Jenna has a lot of small ones,
think
which
you
I
just
like
do-
and it's
I
tasteful.
think
But
one right here on the buy that shows up in some of the camp shirts. If people still wear that shit, I don't know, but I think would look
they
sick.
do.
That's
because we tell
secret,
them
like
to.
that peeks out on a sleeve, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The what
peak
can't be
going.
up to me. The what's got to be. you.
I think it should be TF.
I think it shouldn't be.
That's bad. Yeah, I think
How about a microphone?
I think. that-
The Zoom.
Hey, here's what we do. We do the raffle cuts. You guys give the cuts. We touch them up, and as a gift, we get someone in. If they want to get a TF tattoo, we throw the TF on them.
Ooh.
Wow.
You guys had a
Throws?
Sailor Jerry event, right? Where it
We
was like,
did,
you
and
got
the guy who did it, I can't remember his
Did you get
name.
free Patreon for life and get a
Shit,
throw
I-
fist
I-
tattoo?
I really want his name. I wish I had it. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Jerry.
It's probably on the Love Do Net Instagram. The dude's name. He was great. He must have done like 26 tattoos. Did not complain.
Oh,
They
wow.
all were sick. He's the sweetest dude. So, but if you guys want to do that, you guys do haircuts. Maybe we do.
And then you and Paul.
we
do the
try
sticky
to
poke?
fix them.
I'll be sick, dude.
Hey,
I
we-
practice on my balls.
we try to fix them. Yeah, hey, and it has to be with the ball trimmer.
Yeah,
You sit in the chair, but you sit upside down. We shave
Yeah.
your balls.
Yeah.
If you want to
And then
pay
you gotta-
extra, you
and
can
then-
use Larry's.
And
ball
then
trim.
you get a TF, and then they get a TF tattoo.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
Hell, let's
All
do
right.
it. We can make it
All right,
happen.
let's do it.
So if you want to fuck your life up completely,
and people
Hey, that-
will.
we'll call it the Just Fuck Me Up Fam retreat.
Exactly. I'll get one as well.
Fuck
Okay.
yeah.
I'll get a TF one as well.
When was your most recent tattoo?
Pre-pandemic, night like maybe February 19.
Are you still? You're still getting them? Or are you
Kind of. I do like a once a year thing now,
Okay, nice.
but I haven't. And there's a woman named Tamara Santamanez who I think she was at Saved. Now I
she's
believe,
your like artist that you would go.
no,
to.
Fernando Lyons is the guy who's tattooed
Okay.
me the most. Them and the guys at Smith Street. Fernando Lyons is him and Tamara are the two people that I love most and I think are phenomenal people and phenomenal tattoo artists. And Tamara also helped educate me on a lot of that gatekeeping piece of like that world and
Can't
many
even
other
imagine.
other industries. She's phenomenal. I don't know if she's tattooing as much right now because she was so busy, but her and Fernando has a studio as well. And Fernando's like, he's an amazing guy. So those two folks, but yeah, I like try to plan it now and like make it an event because
Right.
it's terrible. It hurts.
Oh, yeah?
You don't like
Yeah.
get drunk and just like, yo, let me get
Can't.
that.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, I would like, I'll get a fucking TF tattoo today. I don't give a shit
Say less.
Careful what you wish for.
because I have so many. It doesn't matter now.
Yeah.
But if you only have one and you're gonna get one,
Then
it
yeah.
should be important and just it doesn't need to
It should
mean
be
anything.
the logo of my podcast.
Not the logo. Not the logo.
That's gonna change in like 6 months.
Hey, what would be?
when we
Hey, what
rebrand.
would be sick is to literally just get like fucking Jenna in a banner. It would
Or
be fucking
Pepper.
hard
Maybe
body.
Pepper.
Or Pepper would be hard
Or
body
maybe
too.
some of the dog.
Yeah,
or just the
hard
word
body.
podcast.
Jenna just got a chili pepper tattoo for Pepper.
So sick.
But yeah,
I
maybe
love shit
something
like
for the
that.
dog. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
alright.
who knows? Who knows how much I'll want to disappoint my parents in
Yeah,
the future.
stay tuned to see what Tattoo Lawrence gets.
How we
Rob,
debase
here's
ourselves for content.
a
next.
question for me, and it just so happens that we're entering the meats and cheeks, sucking and fucking portion of the podcast.
Ooh-wee. It is not. Has it been the horniest summer or not?
No, it's been a dub.
What the fuck happened?
Well, I mean,
Bro, I
don't
don't
mean
the
for- I
last
just-
page of Pornhub.
Listen, I mean, I feel like kind of for everybody, it's been a little
It's a big
fucked
letdown.
up.
we
Well-
talked it up pretty big, and I feel like it was underwhelming.
I mean,
for
but how
single
could you have
fans out
not
there.
have talked? I mean,
My
I thought
theory
for sure.
is that everyone just wanted to go spend time with the friends and family that they didn't see, and instead of like exploring and
that
like,
sounds
meeting new
smarter than just going out and
Yeah.
fucking, I guess. Yeah.
So in Alabama,
In Alabama, yeah.
in Alabama, you're fucking your cousin. That's dope.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Reverse cowgirl is illegal because
We don't have
you don't turn
a-
your
a-
back on family.
Don't turn your back on the fam.
we don't have the same kind of open
You
mind.
can't get a
up here.
blumpkin. But you can.
Rob, what haircut gets the most ass?
Well, you know what's funny? I'll tell you what haircut kind of doesn't. It's like no, it's
So you're
like
not
if a
answering the
guy
question.
like if a guy comes in and gets that like little, that fringe or like a Caesar or like a sick fade, dudes compliment that shit.
Interesting.
You know, like
which is like how we dress. Like
it's like, oh shit, look how sick look how tough your haircut looks.
Yeah.
And I think there are women that are, and people not, you know, that are definitely attracted, and even for, you know, how folks identify, that are attracted to that. But I think the haircut that gets the most seems to be like when a dude lets it go. Like kind of like, I think people were feeling you when you let your hair go, and you when you let your hair go a little bit more. Like looking like you care, but just enough.
Right.
Just not too fucking much.
Right.
So where your stuff's a little deconstructed.
Damn.
So yeah, that.
So grow it out maybe.
Or just like,
a little like tussled.
Yo, but that middle period is so brutal, bro.
What's that?
When you're growing out your hair, like
it is brutal, but you did a thing that a lot of people could have dissed, and somehow you pulled it off.
Thank you, bro.
No joke.
That.
And also, like, just like, you know, you once again, you don't want to have too technical facial hair unless you're that dude. Who is that dude? 0.00001 of the population. Yeah, kind of.
David Ortiz.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know.
What's the number one grooming tip for a guy who's about to head out? He's getting ready. He's got the fit done, right? He's fucking set the mood. He's got a fresh condom next to the bed, just in case.
Or maybe not a cut.
Right.
Just in case he's heading out for the third date, aka he about to fuck. What's the grooming tip?
Or he's going to attempt to obtain consent to fuck.
Yes.
That.
We're going consent.
He about to fuck sounds
if
better.
They're coming back to the crib, it just comes to like, there are crib tips now, right?
What
like
are the crib tips? Because you have a beautiful home.
Well, the crib tips are like, you maybe have like a little, you know, have a incense stick, some Palo Santo, a fragrance. Give a fuck. Have some room spray.
Snacks.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be snacks, but like
a couple Regina subs on
couple
deck.
Regina subs that we got. But hey, maybe a natural wine, maybe have a couple things
like
around.
Be a host.
A low alc
Be
bev.
a motherfucking host in
What
2021.
about, is there a grooming tip for date?
Well, so that's the first part because like you could do all the shit. And if you bring it back to the crib and you don't have those things,
and your shit is ass, like
you're just not
got no
that
bed frame.
Yeah, you're just not that dude, and that's
like,
a
you
problem.
You want a natty ice?
Be a gentleman because if you ask them up, even if you think you're fucking or you probably are fucking, don't make it about that.
Right.
Make it about like, yo, I'm gonna pour you some shit I like. I'm gonna light some shit that you like.
Play some tunes.
I got a fucking record player. I got a turntable. Put some fucking music on.
About to fall in love.
Yeah, and maybe you just get them a car home, you know, but you show them a little bit more of you because that's what you should do. And I don't give a fuck if you got 10 roommates and no bread. You can still make it happen.
Yeah, you can always make
Trader
a good
Joe's wine
or as best of an impression
or some
as possible.
bullshit. You do not have to force
no
it.
skate decks on the wall.
Yeah,
unless that is that is your guitar. Hey, you got your guitar on the wall?
Yeah,
take that shit down.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck if you play.
Yeah, and do not play Wonderwall.
I know you're listening, John Mayer.
Do not. So the first is like have the crib ready. And that means you just give a shit about people. Because even if you, like someone's coming over and they happen to have like, don't just have like, well, I think I got a couple beers in there. Like have some shit.
Right.
Come on. The second, I think you need to moisturize, man.
Ooh, okay.
Fucking moisturize.
Yeah.
We're talking elbows, knees. Are we talking
whole shit? Don't be ashy. Don't be flaky.
Right.
Put some shit on. And then a touch of a fragrance, whether it's a hawthorn behind the ear.
Right.
Or you do some things. Have that and have that around.
Do you have a fragrance of choice?
Yeah. Killian, Straight to Heaven.
Sounds fucking.
Which is from my
sounds
man.
Irish as fuck.
Hey, that's my man Ben Fuller put me on that. Surf and Turf. He's got a little barbershop out west, High Desert. See him. Ben put me onto so many fucking things. But that fragrance is like the one I'm out because it's fucking expensive.
Sure.
That or Byredo Gypsy Water my wife wears, and this shit is but it's fucking
we're Byredo boys.
Shit's expensive.
Yeah.
But have some of and it doesn't have to be
Travis Scott Cosmic Dust
they have that?
Space.
Well, he did
got
Space Dust.
Space Rock or whatever
Space
the fuck.
Dust. Yeah.
The album was sick. Astro World was sick, but everything else was not. Everything else outside of that
all
was
the
whack.
product.
Yeah.
Shout out our man Charlie.
So I think fragrance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Rob, you are one of the esteemed few guests that has answered this question because you did think it was important to be like, yo, I'm a small business guy. Like if you're going to want to open up your own small business, this is what it's going to take. 2 years later, with the success of Mildred, going through COVID, emerging on the other side, or at least knowing you're going to be all good, how much money do you make?
The money. Well, now that I was on and I'm so successful, I can't say that. No, I'm just kidding. Fuck, I'll say it.
What? Oh.
Well, you know what's weird is when you have a small business, right? You have this idea, and I think a lot of people have this idea, and some people are great at it, but they're like, "Yo, that's a write-off, right? Or that's a write-off," and you're like, I still don't know what a write-off is. Like in terms of like talking to our accountant, we don't know shit still, and so they'll get you coming or going when it comes to the money. So if you're gonna have write-offs, then they're not giving you the loan for the apartment. You know what I'm saying? And so like how much do we make roughly? I think that Christine and I and it varies because L'Oreal pays me, and the only reason I can't say what that number is that could be disrespectful to them.
Sure, absolutely.
But it's I have a contract with L'Oreal that is
max contract.
It's not max. I'm probably
360-degree deal.
I'm probably the lowest paid dude there. For sure, but it's sizable enough that it's like a beginning salary for folks in some worlds maybe 5 years ago, not now.
Okay.
And then I probably like all depending, but like I will in sales, it could be anywhere from like I could make a couple grand a week, but then we got bills to pay on that and taxes to pay on that. And then maybe there's some gratuity.
It's all circular.
Yeah. So like, do I make like after? I think what's great is you guys had Goots on who I don't know. But she said something like, I would like to make $6,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And I think you guys are like doing the numbers and you're like, that's not a lot. I think she probably meant clear $6,000.
Right.
So are there months where we can clear $6,000 each? Sure. Are there months where we don't?
Where you're negative $6,000 in the month?
Not negative, but like where we have costs because as you guys know, when you work for yourselves, what's your health insurance? And you got some shit going on. Like my wife went to the dentist.
Health insurance?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, we got to spend 2 G's at the dentist this month or whatever the fuck. So there are months where we can make 10 to 12 grand a month, sometimes more, sometimes less. But we do well for our rent being $3,000.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hey, what's your rent? Our rent is $3,000.
Not
Did it
bad.
drop a little?
Pretty fucking good for the,
area
and for the space.
We live in the cut a little bit, but I like that too because I grew up in the cut.
Sure.
In a way.
I mean, I could see what you mean, but also like
it's not dangerous, but we're far east we're right by the shop, which is like it's not like you're like, yo, I live on Rich Street, I'm balling. You know what I mean? Like so
you're a little out of the mix, but that's not a bad thing.
No, I like it. But we do well enough.
You got City Bike right here.
Exactly. But we also, my wife, like my mother-in-law, is a single mom, raised the 2 kids. Like, we put a fence in at her house.
Right.
Like for me, like is the next thing, how much money do I want to make?
Yes,
is that where we're at?
Yeah.
So I think this question's interesting because when I think about the money and how much I want to make, it's like people are like, shit, 10 million. The succession 20 million thing is so fucked up and funny, but I see it being true because I have clients that probably have that mentality.
Right.
And what are they tipping?
Yeah. Some of them are tipping 10 still. And some of them are giving me $40. I'm fucking
like, bro,
lucky.
I only make 20 million. I can't tip you 20.
Exactly. But I think the reason why I would want like big boy money, like real money, is to go to my mother-in-law's house and be like, yo, the house is paid.
You got it.
To go to my mom and stepdad who adopted me, who are addicts, and be like, listen, I don't know if you want to try to save yourself,
right?
But here's fucking Passages Malibu,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
You could go and kick it with fucking, I don't know who's there, somebody. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm sure she's doing okay now, but
whoever.
I'm somewhat close with Mike Lohan, and I love him and his family.
Oh shit, okay.
A lot, and Dakota, and so, but whomever, like, yeah, exactly. Mike Lohan's a really good dude, man. He's a great guy.
Right.
But in any case,
whatever other starlet at Passage, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Not saying I get the joke. Yeah, so I can go to them. So I can go to my dad, who's 61 years old and works 6 days a week, and be like, it's part of him does that because that's all he knows. Right. But be like, yo, if you want to work 3 days a week or not work at all,
sure.
That's why. If I could just make what I'm making now and own an apartment like I just rent with maybe one extra bedroom, I'm a happy man.
Has your dad ever come to Mildred and
he cut hair with us? Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yo, that's a little.
We cut hair at Blind Barber too one time.
Leonetti pop up.
Leonelli, yeah.
Leonelli, father and son.
He would come.
Leonelli and sons.
My dad has been cutting hair for so long.
Who's a better barber, you or your dad?
He is more capable, or I'm sorry, he is more efficient. I'm definitely better. There's no question. But he'll say that shit to me because his model is to do haircuts in 12 minutes.
Did he come to
shit.
Oh wow.
On your lunch
break. He's like a fucking he's a
bot. Like
he's a machine.
It's like, you want a flat top? I might struggle doing a flat top. He'll give you one in 7 minutes.
Damn.
He's that dude. So did he visit
Mildred or like see like the Brooklyn barbershop scene and come back and start wearing like Red Wings and stuff denim and shit?
Never. He is the dude who's
Does he cut your hair?
I would let him cut my hair 1,000 times over. And he is amazing because he lived in an efficiency apartment that was like $500 a month. And he still had like the blind barber candle I gave him.
Mm-hmm.
That he's like, I don't like that. He's that kind of dude. Or I gave him like a Levi's made and crafted denim and it's still like got plastic over it. You know what I'm saying? He's that kind of dude, you know? And he's also the type of dude that would live in his car and give you his, you know, we have an interesting relationship, but he's generous. And I think that is inherent from me. I'm that way because that makes me feel comfortable. Of course. It isn't necessarily about doing the nice thing for somebody else. It's about like, I want to help people because that makes me feel like I'm a good dude, whether I am or not. So it's somewhat selfish.
You're clearly a generous guy. I mean, besides like helping out family, what do you like to spend your money on?
Well,
nice wine and nice beers and helping out family.
Yeah. And going out.
And
I love to go out to eat. And if the boys are with us, I like to treat.
Sure.
Always.
Pick up that check.
And then for a while, my boys, especially my two best friends, Chris and Matt, shout out to M Buckwhack and CJ Rogers 25. Those guys they're my world as well. But for a while, those guys were building Blind Barber and BB didn't have a ton of money to pay them. So they were fucking broke.
Sure.
And now they're both so talented, and especially Matt. Like Matt's getting money, and like the reason I have all that Spindrift in there is he's got a fucking Amazon restock where I get cases of that shit. Okay. And he'll just wild shit. Like he brought me a PlayStation 5 one day.
Amazing.
Just like
shout out Buckwhack.
So my friends are generous as well. Right. Even our young friends that like we pay that shouldn't be buying us shit will show up with shit.
Do we need to be more generous?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, maybe
to
not.
ourselves.
Yeah. But generosity is it's one of those things where like if I literally say it comes back, it's the fucking truth.
Right.
It's like the second I do something for someone feels that. So that just makes me feel good about me. And some of that's the anxiety of wanting to take care of people and wanting to feel wanted and approved of. As I mentioned before, I didn't come from much. Yeah. So you always were known as like the poor kid. You don't want to be the poor kid anymore. So you want to pay for shit. My wife is way better at being like, hey, we should do this or save. Yeah. And I'm bad at that. I don't want to save. I don't even know if I believe in generational wealth.
Right.
And I know that sounds a little crazy.
Can't take it with you.
But in some ways I don't. You know, like I don't want my kids to have a good education. I want all kids to have a good education.
Right. Sure.
I don't want to have good health insurance. I want everyone to have it.
Right. Shouldn't be.
Would I sacrifice some shit for that right now? 100%.
Yeah.
What am I really spending my money on to be fun? I bought an old Land Cruiser that's a piece of shit that I'm dumping money into.
Hell yeah. Is that the most you've ever spent on a car?
It was the least, but it's gonna be the most.
It's gonna be the most.
What's the most you spent like on a single whip front to back?
The most I spent on a car?
Yeah.
I bought that old Carmen Ghia that I had that I sold, and I probably had like 15 grand into that, which is like what that car is probably worth.
Are you flipping them at profit?
No,
or just
I lost money. I lost
money?
some money because I sold it to my friend's dad.
Right.
But he drove from Cleveland overnight because he was getting it for his wife.
And you got fucking years of joy out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I would rather sell it to a friend for less.
Sure.
If it gives me just enough to not like put anyone at risk to buy the next thing.
You're not in like a hole.
Yeah. I'm not that dude that I don't ever want to
What's your dream car?
Ooh.
That's a good question. If there was like a Mount Rushmore of cars.
What is your Mount Rushmore of cars? That was my next question.
Yeah.
Guess it's your show now, bro. Go crazy.
So
you should start a podcast.
Yeah. We've talked about a podcast as well.
I mean, listen, bro.
That was our constructive criticism on the previous podcast.
I know.
We
fucked around. Me and my friend Chris and my buddy Matt has helped. And then my friend Stefan has helped with some beats and music and dumb shit that we want to fuck around with as well. But you guys are doing too good. Delaney's thing is also too good.
Yeah.
Everyone's too good to where like, do they need another white and Asian dude to do a podcast?
Yes.
And the answer is probably not. But that's me and Chris. So
you're not going to matter, but
by definition,
if we're not going to matter, then maybe we'll do it. But we've been working on shit. What I mean by working on is like, we'll talk shit to each other, get drunk, and be like, yo, we should start that. And then a month goes by and we're like, get drunk.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Run it back.
But we've started a little bit of work on it because the basement of the shop is a perfect place to do it.
Have you guys built that out into like a fucking chill spot?
It's a chill spot, but you can't do shit there when the shop's open because it's too loud. Or we would be in the basement right now and it would be sick. But that's where we'll do throwing fits tattoos for people and get fucked up or whatever.
Fruitly.
But I would love to do a podcast, and that's a thing we're thinking about. But cars.
Mount Rushmore cars. Let's go.
Mount Rushmore cars. So the 964 that Teddy did, the all-wheel drive one,
Sure.
like that car is a Mount
Porsche.
Rushmore of cars. And I think people that love cars, that drive cars would say the same. I would probably want another Porsche, the 356, which looks kind of like the Carmen Ghia, but just in year range and all that type of stuff. But that type of car for the money that they go for kind of does not matter. But there's one on a Seinfeld episode that's like a hand hammered one.
Okay.
That's probably worth like a couple $1 million.
Damn.
It should be on that list. That's another one.
All right, halfway there.
The Cruiser that I have.
Right.
That's
Toyota.
that's always been
That's
on your,
been a grail. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's an 87 FJ60 Toyota Land Cruiser.
Fire.
They go for tons of money. Just to be transparent, I bought it on a whim with a client in the chair who said, fuck it, buy it. And I got it for like $7,000,
Really?
which is an insane steal until it arrives from Oregon and there's holes in the front.
Oh, it's just it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's a piece of shit car.
But
Adam
that,
Sandler.
Where is it right
Adam
now?
Sandler throwback.
it's at Fast Eddie's garage on Long Island, who's the man who is saving this thing.
Right.
And I'm giving him money. Like I just give him cash every time I see him.
Right.
Like money I could kind of hide
This
from.
will hold me over for another month.
Like money I could hide from Christine. You know, like, hey, here's another $1,000.
The money in the mattress.
Here's
As you
another $1,000. What are we up to now?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
That type of shit.
Yeah, what
but
percentage are we there?
that Cruiser is one. You know, so the one Porsche that I'm talking about is an all-wheel drive one as well. The Teddy's the 964 911, and that color, the whole shit, like that's the one.
What's the last?
And then the last
slot going to?
one I mean, man, it's tough to narrow it down to a last one. But you know, it's crazy to say that it's got to be like an American muscle car because there are just so many fucking cars.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot.
but for me, it would probably be that I had as well and I sold that I bought it's a 75 Hurst Olds W30 that's slow,
Right.
that no one wants. But it's got T-tops and it's got a Hurst shifter and it's got swivel bucket seats.
Wait, you had it and you sold it?
I had it and I sold it to get the Ghia
Got it.
because the shit felt like I was on Long Island with it and I felt like every white supremacy dude in the world was like, hey man, what's underneath the hood of that? And you're like,
dude.
it's a Hemi. Dog. Yeah, it's like, I got to get rid of this thing.
Yeah, it's broadcasting the wrong shit.
Yeah,
to
but I
wrong
love the
people.
car, but it just felt like, especially if I have my hair slicked back and I'm
Sure.
wearing a camp shirt with a fucking A
You
shirt
look
and
like a
I'm driving.
statistic.
It's like,
Yeah.
who is this fucking
Playing
asshole?
fucking.
I feel like an asshole, you
Yeah.
know? So you
Playing
got to get rid
ZZ
of it.
Top.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so it was like one of those things. But so on that list, like having a couple of those cars felt good. But those are the cars that I've loved the most. And there's car dudes who'd be like, what a fucking idiot. I would pick
Nah,
this.
it's
But
It's a sentimental personal.
it's absolutely
yeah,
a
but those
fucking
are the whips.
personal
And I
decision.
love cars, man. I love shitty cars. Like and I grew up in a GM, you know, world in Youngstown, Ohio. It's steel and auto, man.
Right.
You know, Ohio rubber and PA steel is sick shit.
You got motor oil in your veins, bro.
Yeah. And now we're going to, hopefully we can go
I gotta
electric.
call you Robbie Diesel.
Yeah.
Rob, we've seen you fucking thriving. We've been patrons. We've been homies. We've been fucking blood brothers at some point when we get them tattooed.
Yep.
We love to see how well you and the boys and Christine and the girls are all doing over there, 124 Ridge Street.
We have you folks to thank for something.
That being said, bro,
Mhm.
we want to see you do even better. And so we're going to offer up some constructive criticism real
Yeah.
quick, just one each.
Real quick before we get out.
Take it or leave it, but you know,
I'm here.
if you every other time they've taken our constructive criticism, it's brought you to exactly where you are.
It's the
right
truth.
now.
It's the
Drinking
whole
Aperol
truth and
Spritz on a
nothing but.
Tuesday at 4:08 p.m.
And we can handle the truth.
Rob, my boy here, very picky when it comes to brands. Right, that's what I'm saying.
I'm a
Obviously,
brand whore.
yeah, he only fucks with the best brands in the world. Look at him. He's got a fucking
The Phillipses.
A Phillips hat.
Yo, hey,
A Stussy tee.
Is it-
Gramici shorts.
is that a Young Ann? Do you know the tag on it? It's vintage, right?
Yes.
Is it a Young AN? Is it Young Ann on
No.
the tag?
No, it's not. It's this is a made in the USA.
Oh, okay.
But this is
there's
my
no-
this is my father-in-law's.
Let's see. Hold on now.
This is my father-in-law's hat because he worked at Phillips.
Oh, I don't know what that P is, but
Yeah.
the Young Anns are great. But this thing,
Yeah.
it's
He gave it to me the last time I saw him. So, you know.
It's perfect.
Shout out
Guy-
Luther Blackwell.
This guy's very picky when it comes to the fucking brands that he co-signs by putting on his body, right?
Mhm.
So I do think that men's grooming is a very corny landscape, right? When it comes to like the brands out there.
It sure is.
If you were to make a Mildred branded trimmer, Lawrence could finally get a dedicated genital groomer.
Or just a beard trimmer.
That
or you do
mower.
the beard version.
Exactly. Whatever you do, so
that Millie mower, the Millie
dedicate the mower.
The Millie mower, yeah.
He needs to mow. He needs to mow the hog. Is what I'm saying.
We can get some sponsorship opportunities on the pod.
If this man dies, I'm out of a job, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want him to fucking die of dick bacteria going up his nose.
use promo code Larry's Gooch for 20% off your first Millie mower.
The Millie Rock, the dick.
Yeah.
So make some Mildred hardware.
In New York, I'm Millie.
I think that would be fun. The tough thing with that shit is quality control. But I'm long-winded, so I won't go into the clipper thing. Fuck.
What about
we're gonna do a mower?
Someone fucking. All right.
Well, maybe
We'll try all this shit.
Maybe we could throw some R&D money your way, because my piece of constructive criticism, Rob, is listen, bro, I love you, but let me pay for one goddamn haircut.
Can't happen.
No, okay.
Also, he doesn't mean that.
He doesn't mean
I tried.
it.
Did that sound convincing?
Can't fucking happen.
I'm not allowed to pay. I'm not allowed to tip. And what you said is at the point where if I ever needed you to do that, I will let you know.
Absolutely.
And
there are
radio silence.
There are people that and you know, it's just important.
I feel bad at Texas, man, to make a point.
Yeah, but no. Listen, if in a perfect world, another reason to be rich, it would be like I would like cut the client base down quite a bit, and I would cut all the people I want for fucking free. Just so it's really a thing, because you guys know how adult life is. You can't it's hard to hang out with people.
Right.
So that's my opportunity to hang out with you sometimes.
And it's great.
So that's the beauty.
And it is the best.
That's the beauty of what we do. That's why I do that for certain.
My last piece of constructive criticism, work on Monday, Tuesday, because that's when I get my hair cut. I'm always like, where's Rob? Like, it's his day off.
I'm gonna pop in.
No, when I'm in, like Paul will be in there sometimes. Always nice to say what up.
We're together a lot more than we were, but because of all the restrictions and everything else, we're still figuring that shit out.
I actually love that E. Holmes cuts Chef's hair and Vinny cuts Chuck's hair.
Oh my God.
Rob cuts my hair, Paul cuts your hair. We have
guess who cut? Guess who cut?
Merchman? Ryland?
Sanford just cut him.
Bro, we're 5 for 5.
Yo, come on. Yo, really do a little fucking pickup game, bro.
I think Robbie comes in Mildred as well.
Does Robbie Kelly?
Rob Kells, R. Kells.
He hasn't had a haircut in a long time. His hair is luxurious.
He's got the fucking down to his shoulders.
But we'll send him.
We'll look. I'm not 100% because I think so. But there's also so many people that come in to listen to the show, and I want to thank each and every one of them.
Hell yes.
From all the bottom of my heart, because there are people that have made a great deal of sacrifice to come see us, coming from upstate. Coming from Chris from out west.
Oh, yeah. Fucking Mr. Cresco himself.
They gave me the Cresco Carhartt shit, which was sick. Yeah. But like all of that.
Shout out Mr. Smith. Dude.
The amount of people that have come in because of the show and the dedication that they have to us and the effort that they put in. I can't thank all of these folks enough. I had to do that.
18 million well-groomed and freshly faded savages.
And Rob, guests too have been inspiring too.
You're an absolute fan favorite. You're an absolute personal favorite. Thank you for coming on to the only podcast that matters. Where can the kids follow you? Where can they follow Mildred?
Love you guys so much. Thank you. I'm at r.set, which was a take on Dipset, even though they took the L. I'm still...
still repping.
You should be our chubby baby.
Yeah, our chubby baby. Maybe if these Reginas pop, we eat them. It's going down. And then the shop's just Mildred, New York, and that's like I think we're on all the platforms. I mean, we're
TikTok.
I have a personal TikTok that I don't really use.
Just to lurk.
And it's funny because as an adult now, the shit that I watch is like, hey, look at the iPhone trick I didn't know or something. And then the shop's just Mildred, New York, all one word, Mildred, New York. And that's a site.com.
What's the address? Say it again.
124 Ridge Street.
124.
Boom. 124 Ridge.
So thank you.
Thank
you
down.
guys so much.
Tell them what Jimmy and Larry sent you. Chef, slap that motherfucking Jada kiss.
We gonna make it.
Love y'all.
Love you, bro. Peace.
Fuck the frail shit, cause when my coat come in, they gotta use the scale that they weigh the whales with.
Carlson's on the Jeep, Bugatti made the prototype. Hope you get the picture, but you just can't photo like.
Determined niggas make it, kicking down the door and we burning niggas naked.
The house costs $1 million, sitting on the beach, and the only thing I know if it's furnished, I'ma take it.
My bathtub lift up, my walls do a 360. We got the shit that the government got. Talking money, then you rubbing the spot.
Real niggas say that they be wildin'. We on the Cayman Islands, on a yacht with our favorite albums.
A bad hoe and a plate of salmon, smoking and drinking. Nigga, is you thinking that our fate is violent?
I love my nigga for the fact that he real, and nobody on the faculty square.
What? And if you facing capital pun, pass me a gun, and I'ma give you time to run while I rapidly peel. Make it, we gon' make it, we gon' make it, we gon' make quickly. And I don't like the rent, so when I fly now, bring my cars on the plane with me.